But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know whether rockets or whatever, but it could be fast, opposite direction. They would be fast to be okay.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and this is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We do this show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. That's 10 Eastern. And we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And, of course, we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And, as usual, we're taking your phone calls tonight. Open lines the entire show because guess what? This is a two-way conversation. I can get on the microphone and I can talk and all kinds of weirdness and, right, that's fun and all, but it's a lot more fun to hear you when you actually contribute to the conversation and kind of kick in some of the things that you think regarding exactly what we're doing here tonight and most any other night, because it's not, like I said, I've always said this, and I think the important thing when you're, you know, when you flap your gums as much as I do and talk and talk and talk and talk as, you know, part of being a, you know, a radio guy, you got to talk a lot, right? And it's okay. That's all fine and well, but the issue is, right, you get it's easy to catch yourself in some of these cycles where you want to, you know, shake your fist and say, this is the right way to do things. This is the right way to live your life. This is the right way to do whatever, right? And that's not, I mean, like it's exhausting. It's exhausting trying to be right all the time. So let's just give it up. I'm not right about probably most everything. But it doesn't matter because I don't even think being right is what a conversation should be about, right? I think that even now, in this weird age we live in, like I call it the post-truth world. I'm not the only one that calls it that. Many people call it that. But of course, right, meaning that there's no such thing as truth. Meaning that no matter what you do, there's just some very, very strange things happening out there that, like I said, you can always look up two opposite things, two literal opposite things, right? Global warming is real. Global warming is fake. Do it. Go search them and see what the heck happens, right? And you're going to say stuff like, surely, Michael Strange, most of that's propaganda. Yeah, you're right, clearly. But the issue is, how much of it is based in reality? How much of it is not? How much of it is not like climate alarmism? How much of it is not propaganda from the oil companies trying to downplay what's actually happening with the climate? I understand there's two very distinct sides to this, but no matter what, if you ask either side what's right, they'll tell you what the truth is, won't they? And let's be real, they're both probably lying. And that's what this is about. This is about not trying to work too hard to get to that truth, to kind of talk about the discussion in between those two polarities of, well, how come there really is so much contradictory information? How come, right, we don't even know what truth is anymore, right? We have to look inward to find truth. There's no truth in the news. There's no truth in demagogues shaking their fist and telling you that they're right on the radio or on television. There's no truth anymore. And so this show is not about truth. This is not the truth show. This is not the answer show. This show is the question show. And it's okay. It's okay to not have answers. And that's really what this is about. And that's why that whole little tangent tirade is just because I want you to understand that this conversation does go two ways. I'm hoping to bring something interesting to your attention that you may or may not know. And hopefully you reciprocate and give me a call back and we talk about this stuff. So as all of that, do you like that? That this is like the longest lead in ever to a phone number. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is this. It's simple, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the website at troubledminds.org, and you can click the Discord link, and the phone number is right on top. So if you're trying to call in or you're trying to follow the podcast or any of that stuff, one-stop shop, troubledminds.org. We also have a Discord running, right? Discord, like I said, we talk about it every night. It's amazing. Not only is it a chat client, it's a voice client. The best thing about it is it's absolutely free, and it works, It's amazing. So there's people chatting it up all through the night, and last night and several nights this week even, there's people chatting it up on voice after this show ends. People hop in the chat and just yuck it up and talk about all kinds of things. And it's good, right? It's good. This is what we're talking about when you want to build a community of people together, right? Bringing people together instead of the division garbage politic that we're given in today's age. There's a way. It's possible still. We don't have to give in to all the hatred and all the BS and all the propaganda. We can do this our own way. And that's really what this is about. So if you have not joined the Discord, you're missing out. Lots of smart people in there. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and you'll get a direct invite. And there's also another actual Discord room as well for Fringe FM. Go to fringe.fm/chat and you'll get a direct invite there as well. It's the same program, just two different chat rooms. A lot of the same people are actually in both. So if you don't want to miss anything or anybody, jump in both of those Discords and you'll get lots of great folks sharing lots of great information. So there you go. Please do that. Okay, so here's the deal. Now, the way this usually starts, the way we usually do this is I try and find something current, right? And then hopefully it kind of leads us on a road to the past. And of course, well, sometimes the future. Sometimes we time travel on this show, don't we? But many times it leads us to the past and some maybe bigger questions. Like I said, it's this show is kind of part pop philosophy, part news, part just people getting together and having conversations. So where we're going to begin tonight is this is going to seem a little strange. We're going to go the long way around, and you're going to be confused at first, which is fine because we got plenty of time to talk our way through this. But I was going through the news and I saw this particular article. Let me pull this up, and this is from ScienceAlert.com, and this is amazing stuff right here, and you'll see why shortly because it doesn't seem like it right off the bat. You'll be like, "What are you talking about, Mike? This is nuts. Are you insane?" No, I trust. Trust me, I'm only partially insane. All right, but here's what it is, all right? This is from ScienceAlert.com, and this is the headline. I'm going to put it on full screen, linking it in the chats, all the chats that I'm watching all the chats out there. And here's the deal, right? Headline is this: giant layer of bones, including human, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave. All right, and I was like, okay, this is brand new. This is August 16th, just a day or two ago, right? What's the date today? I don't even know what day it is. It's the 18th. So 2 days ago, this article came out, and it literally instantly triggered something in my mind on a show we did a long time ago. When I was when we first started Troubled Minds, I had a co-host. His name was Frank, fantastic guy. He had other obligations, so he had to leave. Left me by myself. I didn't know what to do. How do I do a show by myself, right? This was one of the first ones I did. This particular thing that kind of triggered in my brain here, and we'll get back to that. We're gonna circle back to that particular show, which again, right, when you do the first few shows by yourself, it's kind of crummy and et cetera, so on. So it's nice to be able to actually circle back and look at some of this stuff and have actual current information coming out of the news that really circles us back to these stories that we talked about in the old days here. But check this out. So again, giant layer of bones, including human bones, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave. All right, going to read just a little bit of this. And like I said, tonight's journey will lead us not just starting here with this layer of bones. It will bring us to the Vatican Archive and werewolves. There you go. If you want the spoiler alert, you want the teasers, that's what's going on tonight. We're going to start in this dusty cave in Saudi Arabia with human bones, and we're going to go to the Vatican Archive, and we're going to come out of there with, you guessed it, some werewolves and other stuff. And so there we go. So let's start. Let's just read some of this, and let's get into this. A huge hoard of mixed animal bones, including the remains of humans, has been found in an ancient lava tube in Saudi Arabia. The hollowed cave, called Jirsan, Jirsan, excuse my pronunciation, is a sprawling lava conduit system underneath the volcanic fields of Harat Khaibar. Well, you can see it right there on the screen. I'm not going to spell it. In the northwest of the country. Jirsan extends for a staggering 1.5 kilometers, almost a mile, making it the longest known reported lava tube in Arabia. Within those extensive shadows, wild creatures have been busy. Yep. In a new study, researchers report the discovery of hundreds of thousands of bones belonging to at least 14 different kinds of animals, such as cattle, horses, camels, rodents, and more. And some of those bones, that's right, they're human bones. Maybe some of you know exactly where this is headed tonight, but like I said, we're going to take the long way around. We'll start here. So this 1.5 kilometer long lava tube is a chock-a-block with, this is a quote from a zoo archaeologist, Matthew Stewart from the Max Planck Institute for Chemical Ecology in Germany. He said this. This 1.5 kilometer long lava tube is chock-a-block with hundreds of thousands of beautifully preserved animal remains. But why? Yeah, why? What the heck is going on here? According to the researchers, this massive hoard of bones was, again, right? We don't know, do we? But we're taking guesses. We're guessing at this. This massive hoard of bones was most likely scavenged together by striped hyena, whose own skeletal remains were also found in the cave, along with their fossilized droppings. Quote, these critters are avid collectors of bones, which they transport to dens to be consumed, fed to young, or cached, Stewart explains, noting that the epic assemblage represents a collection for the ages. Yes, a collection for the ages. The material at Jirsan has accumulated over the last 7,000 years, attesting to the excellent conditions for preservation of bone within the lava tube. There's your photograph of your striped hyena. And here we go. Just to read a little bit more of this, and then we'll get into why this triggered an old memory from an old show we did, and how this leads to the Vatican. Yeah, you may be surprised. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Okay, did I read that? Okay. While animal bones have been unearthed in the Jirsan lava tube before this, there's yet much we don't understand about the taxonomy of species in the cave, nor what those remains could tell us about paleoecology in the region. This old hyena den, however, is not just a relic of the ancient past. During a previous investigation of the lava tube in 2007, researchers heard sounds of growling in the cave, suggesting Jirsan remains open for business. All right. So there we go. There's where we begin tonight, like I said. So how does this actually lead us to the Vatican? Well, we're going to take our time. We're not going to jump into that just yet. But, we talk about all kinds of critters on this show, right? We talk about Bigfoot. We talk about, like, the chupacabra, stuff like this. Basically, it's called cryptozoology, right? And so, obviously, let's just take this conversation to Bigfoot for just a second. And, many people have said, well, if Bigfoot's real, we'd have found the bones by now, right? Yeah, maybe, right? But what if Bigfoot lives in something like this? Like they're literally like an underground dwelling civilization that just pops up for air once in a while to kind of eyeball some people and scare them, and then they go back underground, which means most of everything they do would be in cave systems like this, lava tubes, you name it, right? And how deep does it go and all the rest of this, which would mean, unless they get hit by a car, which of course I'm sure they'd be very careful of. I'm speculating, of course, but right, something like this would very much explain and describe why we couldn't find a critter that might exist like Bigfoot. All right, and so instead, well, let's say they do. The Bigfoot or whatever it is, the chupacabra, whatever cryptozoology thing you got, Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. Maybe there's an underwater cave that goes deep underneath Lake Loch Ness, and that's why they can never find Nessie. She just pops out once in a while and says hi and then disappears for years at a time, right? And that's the thing. That's what we're talking about here. There are dark, deep places in this earth where things hide. Things can hide. Like, it's been said that, just take the oceans again, for example. It's been said we know more about the surface of Mars than we know about the actual oceans here on Earth, which should tell you a lot, right? And of course, that would go to the cave systems as well, wouldn't it? That would go to a lot of this stuff. Sure, has been explored, but there are places that are inaccessible by humans still. And so, well, how does this work? And not only that, don't worry, we're going to get to werewolves tonight, and we're going to get to the Vatican Archive as well. And like I said, we're going to take the long way around. We're taking our time. But when you see this, when you see a news story like this, giant layer of bones, including human bones, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave, what exactly does it trigger in your brain? Does it kind of give you visions of cryptozoology, of, possible, who knows? They're saying the striped hyena. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that, right? That's all good. But I think that this is kind of a bigger, what would you say? Maybe bigger archaeological find for, folks like us. Because, the question always is, where's Bigfoot? Well, okay, Bigfoot could very well be in a place like this where they're eating deer or whatever game they come out to hunt. They bring the bones down there, so you never find traces of them. This could very well be, couldn't it? And so, of course, as scientists, you wouldn't expect scientists to say, well, we found the cave where Bigfoot hides, because, well, they'd never say that. So, of course, they have to say, well, in the area, in Saudi Arabia, of course, you have the Middle East, and you have, I believe there's Syria, there's the southern Iraq is part of this region. And so you end up with... you have to kind of look for what lives in the area, right? I mean, I don't think there's any big feet out there, as it were, Sasquatch or whatever it's going to be. But the thing is this. So they said it's striped hyena, all right? The striped hyena. And that's actually what, not just the striped hyena, but this cave happening to be in northeastern Saudi Arabia. I think it's northwestern Saudi Arabia. It triggered in my mind... well, an old story. And the old story, actually, let's see, where are we at time-wise? I want to make sure we do this right. So the old story goes a little something like this. Now, so not only do we have these bones just discovered, again, remember this lava tube is a mile long. And that's assuming there's not like a secret passage, maybe underneath a pile of bones that goes deeper down or something like this, right? Which, of course, if it's covered in bones, you'd never know. You'd have to go back there and excavate it. And as they said in the article, as far back as, or as recent as 2007, there were growls coming from the back of this cave, meaning that they're probably still in business here, right? And remember, in this cave are not just tons of animal bones, there are human bones. Human bones in this cave, all right? So, okay. So then the long way around is this. We're going to continue trucking tonight. And like I said, if you've got, what does this cave trigger in your brain? Does it, do you go to cryptids or some other things? Or are you like, Michael Strange, get out of here. This is just the striped hyena. That's what the zoologists say. That's what the archaeologists tell us. I mean, we got to go with the narrative, right? But I like to use my imagination a little bit more than that. And just kind of consider that, again, if a pack of hyena, or several packs even, could hide in this cave for a very long time and hide their bones for, what'd they say, 7,000 years, how many generations there, then, well, what else might be hiding in caves like this? And of course, right, this one's going to be accessible by humans because we found it, but what about the ones that are not accessible? All right? And that's where my brain went when I first saw this, and I was like, oh, sweet, isn't that the same thing as, and it was just like on the tip of my tongue, I couldn't remember. And then I was reading the article, and I was like, the striped hyena, yes, I remember this story. All right, well, yeah, you want to know the story? Well, check this out. We'll start with this. In AD 774, the Assyrian Empire, spanning portions of present-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, suffering a frightening invasion of man-eating creatures, as yet unidentified. All right, now this is from an old tome, an old dusty book called the Chronicles of Zuqnin, Zuqnin. All right, it's I think it's in Arabic. I want to say, I don't think it's Persian. I think it's Arabic, and the original copy of this book, you got it, is housed in the Vatican Archive. All right, so we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that tonight, but I'm just going to give you a little tease of what this actually is. Now, this is called the Assyrian Monster Invasion, AD 774 in the Assyrian Empire. And yes, that's right. That is exactly what it triggered in my brain. When I was reading this article, and I was like, damn it, I know this. How do I know this story? And it's because I did a show on this very thing probably 2 years ago now. It's been a long time. However, now, not only has archaeology and the zoologists and the people that found this cave, right, notably with human bones, right? Not only that, guess what? It's in the same area as the Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD. There you go. What's up? Jack says, I want to believe. Heck yeah. What's up? So this is the show where we drink the maybe juice. We drink a healthy dose of the maybe juice and consider these things, right? So if, now again, right, we're going to put these things together, all right? This whole thing comes together, I promise you. So what we're going to talk about tonight is, one, we start with this article within the cave, all right? In this cave, we have 7,000 years of bones, animal bones. And also, by the way, human bones. All right? Something in the Middle East has been feasting on all kinds of things for thousands of years. Do you know how many scary stories date back 7,000 years in the Middle East of something eating people? Yeah, there's a lot. You see where I'm headed with this. So, what's on my mind tonight is this. This Chronicle of Zuqnin, it's actually part 4. All right, it's part 4. There's 4 books to this. And so this actual little blurb, this little story is in part 4 of that chronicle, okay? And again, the original, all we have are copies. And so you don't know how accurate copies actually are, because in the old days they had to be written, handwritten, scribed, right? And so if the information was throttled back then and only allowed to copy certain parts or leave things out, or who knows, what are they leaving out of this story? So we'll get there. We'll get to what the story actually is in just a little bit. But that is what's on my mind tonight. So the question is this. Do you think that this cave in particular is a possibility for something like a cryptozoological creature? And if so, well, yeah, I'd love to hear from you. If you think I'm off the rails on this, that's okay, because I have more. So also, the other question tonight is, what do you think they're hiding in the Vatican Archive? That's what I want to know. That's what's on my mind tonight. Trust me, we'll tie all this together. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More conversation about werewolves, bones in caves, and the Vatican Archive when we come back. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. But maybe not Facebook for very much longer because they're limiting our reach in a grotesque and unfair manner. But also, we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about, yeah, that's right, they found in Saudi Arabia a cave a mile deep full of bones, animal bones and human bones. What in the world is going on over there? Well, I've got some ideas. And yes, you guessed it, as I teased before, it's going to lead us through the Vatican Archive. It's going to lead us to a story in the Middle East from 774 AD. And that story, of course, is a cryptid Assyrian monster invasion. And you better believe it. What were those monsters doing? We'll get to that story in just a little bit here. But, of course, those monsters were eating people. You better believe it. So we're going to get to that story in a little bit. Maybe some of you guys have been listening to this show long enough that you remember when we did this show originally, we didn't have the benefit of this brand new article that just happened right here, describing, of course, again from Science Alert, a giant layer of bones, including human bones, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave. And now the Cliff Notes version of this is 7,000 years and 1 mile deep of bones. Yeah, I think gruesome is the correct word. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Don't worry, we're going to get to the Vatican. But the question tonight is, what do you think caused this? Of course, the official version is the striped hyena, all right, which is native to the area, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, and southern Iraq, all right? And this cave is actually located in northern Saudi Arabia, which means it's very well within... That's right. Very well within the not just the realm of the striped hyena, but also whatever these critters might have been that attacked these villages in 774 AD, which we'll get to in just a moment. But before we do that, we're going to go to, we're going to go to a phone call here. I believe this is Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight, my friend?
Hey, what are you doing? So I was listening to the opening of this. I'm cleaning my house and doing stuff. But I was like, this is like the best thing to talk about ever. Okay, so the Vatican Archives, for one, I'm just going to, well, first, I hope you're doing good. I'm sorry about your Facebook stuff being pushed out of there, but
that's okay.
So with the Vatican Archives,
go right ahead.
Yeah, with the Vatican Archives, for one thing, they're, I think you probably know this already. I'm sure other people do. It's like 50 miles worth of archived manuscripts and books. I think we've talked about that before, just when I've called. And it basically contains like the history of the world and everything. There are languages in the archives that people can't even read anymore. Or maybe there's like a handful of people who can read it. So basically it's the entire, it's everything. They know everything as far as like whatever has happened on this planet and like where we're coming from and the different types of, about all the different beings and everything. The archives in the Vatican, you can't even get anything out of the archives unless you know the exact name of the manuscript you're looking for, unless you know the title of, or the works that you're looking for. And sometimes those are important languages, so you can't just search it by topic or anything. They've started digitalizing it, so you can kind of go through and look at a few things they've given you, but it's almost impossible to find anything unless you know foreign languages. But now, I remember hearing about, you've heard of St. Christopher, I'm sure, that he was a cynocephali, that he was a dog-headed a dog man. There were some accounts, some people said that that was just like a misrepresentation to try to explain like how he had an animalistic nature or something, that he was aggressive because, of course, he was Christianized. But before he was Christianized, he was eating people. And there was accounts from different bishops and, I guess, Vatican explorers that said that they had encountered all kinds of tribes of people. These were warriors, and they were dog people. They were the Cynocephali, and they would eat human flesh, and they would bark like dogs, but they were also civilized. And some of them were, but they're just like people. Some were very nice and noble, and some were, violent and just like humans, basically. And they Christianized some of them, and they became, just, I guess, decent dog people. I don't know how you explain it. But I think that it's possible that that there was a massive cutback of the Cynocephali. You would have had to eradicate them when you were Christianizing. There were many creatures supposedly that refused to be Christianized. For example, the trolls, and then there was and then here with the Cynocephali that they wouldn't be Christianized. There's also accounts of fish people, like people that live in the water. But I think it's possible that it could be that those hyenas and everything could be the Cynocephali, maybe. And if not, it doesn't even matter, because it's very possible that they could have, been hiding in there for, I don't know, hundreds of years, if not longer, kind of reclusing back. We know that the earth is full of all kinds of hollow chambers and everything. But mainly with the Vatican Archives, I think it's important to tell people that the Vatican Church, because it's been around forever and it's acted as a replacement for government many, many times, and they have sheltered the world's history in their hallways and, all the archives. And anyway, I'm rambling.
No,
so
you're good.
I think that's what it could be.
No, you're spot on. So let me tell you about that story. So the only reason I know that story you're discussing about the dogmen and the Christianity thing is because in a previous show we did when we were talking about werewolves, I stumbled upon that kind of by accident. I was like, really? Is this a real thing? And yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right with all the stuff you're saying there.
I came across it thinking about the Mongolians in the Ottoman Empire. And I was trying to figure out if there had been people in North America, forever, basically. And a lot of research lends to it that it's possible. People call it different things, but it led to the Eastern Steppe in Mongolia, and that there were Mongolian and Ottoman empires. But during that Mongolian and Ottoman empire, they were called the heavenly dogs. And that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. But they had associations and possibly fought wars with the assistance of the Cynocephali. I don't know, how I haven't heard your other show, but I probably won't be able to find it or something. But yeah, I don't know. In Vatican Archives, I mean, they literally have everything about the Mayan cultures. They have things about, cultures we have no idea about, and they know what happened, what caused the Dark Ages, what was going on, because it's pretty much a blackout, up until 150 years ago. And so I'm assuming that it's for good reason. But, I mean, basically the Talmud and the Vatican Archives and everything all address the Cynocephali and these different creatures. And so I think that obviously, could be something to consider, especially flesh-eating. Some of them, it's funny that some of them could be civilized and then that they didn't. They just decided to stop eating people. Very nice of them to do. So,
well, anyway. If you become a Christian and turn over a new leaf, right, you're forgiven. So stopping eating people is a good first start. So. Yeah. And you're spot on here. So I'm sure you haven't heard this story, because this is a super rare one that I stumbled across randomly on Reddit years ago. And I was like, really, is this real? And so you do some digging, right? You do some digging, and sure enough, it's a real story. And we're going to get to that, but it is very much exactly like you're describing. Very, very dogmen type, possibly werewolves, which is where we're going to go tonight. So great stuff as always from you, Jennifer. Any other thoughts on this, on the Vatican Archive or anything else before we got you on? Always great stuff. So I'm not trying to run you off the phone. Go for as long as you like, my friend.
Oh no, just wondering if I wonder if the Cynocephali, though, if that's different than the werewolf. It's going to be really hard for sure, because the werewolf is a folklore of people changing into one, and so I don't know. I don't know. But It's always good to talk with you. I'll talk to you later.
You as well. Thank you very much. That's Jennifer in Missouri. I appreciate the call. Good stuff as always. Thanks for kicking us off with the phone calls tonight. And as you know, we're taking your phone calls, guys. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Going to put the phone number up. And there we go. That's a fantastic way to kick this off. And this is a real story, guys. This is a real story. This is an actual book that goes back to 774 AD. And we'll get to that story in just a sec. Like I said, we're going to stretch this out. I could make all this smash into 20 minutes, but then it's less fun, isn't it? Because then we don't get to take your phone calls and all the rest of that. And you see why. Fantastic call from Jennifer right off the bat. And she's right. She's right. That also is a legend with the dog people, the Christianity, that whole bit. I can't remember exactly what they're called. She had the name perfect, but I've stumbled on that story. And so I'll try and dig it out as we go tonight, and maybe we can cover that one as well. But okay, so we're starting in Saudi Arabia with this cave full of bones. 1 mile deep, 7,000 years worth of bones. How far back do you think 7,000 years goes, and covers what? Covers what? All of known history, basically. I mean, literally, if we go back 10,000 years, we're talking about the Ice Age, right? We're talking about the Great Flood. So, well, most of known human history, right? All right. So now, the odd part about this, again, which triggered in my mind, is we'll talk about this and we'll go. But the questions for tonight, as Jennifer started us out, this is the deal. What do you think they are hiding in the Vatican Archive? Because this story, like I said, the original story here, I'm about to give you a little brief synopsis of this story. This story, the original book itself, is actually in the Vatican Archive. So the copies we have, well, are they accurate? It's hard to say. But from the copies, I'm going to read you just a little blurb, and you're going to be shocked. Because this story is off the rails. And yes, it is. It is monsters eating people. So that's the question tonight. Werewolves, dogmen, is there a difference? We may as well add that to the questions. And what do you think they're hiding in the Vatican Archive? If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find us at troubledminds.org and click the Discord link and get in here and come join the conversation. But okay, let us continue, shall we? Make sure everything's still running perfectly. We're still on Fringe. Everything's good. Okay, so let's continue. Let's get to this story now. Like I said, so we started with this story that just was a couple days ago. 1 mile deep, 7,000 years of bones, including human bones. All right. Why am I so stoked? Why am I so like OMG about this? I'm about to tell you. It goes a little something like this. All right, let's get all this stuff up. What's up, Dagger Spells? I see you there in the chat. All right, it goes a little something like this. The Assyrian monster invasion. In AD 774, the Assyrian Empire, again spanning portions of present-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, which of course is the southern area, and just south of those countries is, guess what? Saudi Arabia. So in northwestern Saudi Arabia is where this cave was found, right near this same area. Okay? Present-day Jordan, Syria, and southern Iraq. All right, it continues. So the Assyrian Empire in 774 AD suffered a frightening invasion of man-eating creatures, as yet unidentified. The events were recorded by Deniz of Tel Mari, a leader of the Syrian Jacobites, in his chronicles. Before the reign of the Emperor Leo IV, there raged a plague that was followed by the appearance of frightening and terrifying animals who feared nothing and no one. They fled from no man, and indeed killed many people. A very little were they like wolves. Catch that? They weren't like wolves. People in this area know what wolves are. A very little were they like wolves. But their face was small and long, and they had great ears. The skin on their spines resembled that of a pig. These mysterious animals committed great ravages on the people of the Abdin Rock region near Ha, H-O-H. In some villages, they devoured more than 100 people, and in many others from 20 to 40 or 50. Nothing could be done to them because they were fearless of man. If a man did pursue them, in no ways did the monsters become scared or flee. Instead, they turned on the man. If men loosed their weapons on a monster, it leaped on the men and tore them to bits. These monsters entered houses and yards. This is where it gets terrifying. And seized and kidnapped children and left. No one daring to offer resistance. They climbed in the night onto terraces, stole children from their beds, and went off without opposition. When they appeared, dogs were afraid to bark. Right? You see where we're going with this. What does this sound like to you? I'm going to continue. There's a little bit more of this, and there's more. This isn't the only part here, but check this out. Dogs were afraid to bark. For these reasons, the country suffered a more terrible experience than it had ever known before. 2 or 3 men were frightened to move around together. Cattle disappeared from the field because all of the livestock had been devoured by these dreadful monsters. Indeed, when one of these creatures attacked a herd of goats or a flock of sheep, they took away several at a time. These monsters passed from the land and went into Arzanene, southern Armenia, and ravaged every village there. They also aged the country of Myfurk and along Mount Kaihai, and also great damage at Amida. Now, again, so excuse my pronunciation for some of these places. These are ancient places in the Middle East, again, back to 774 AD. I'm going to put the actual link here of what I just read in the chat in case you guys want to follow up on that. As always, right, I enjoy you guys seeing my sources. And if you don't believe me, then, well, get in here and take a look, because I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff is sourced. And so this right here, again, the Assyrian monster invasion in 774 AD of the Assyrian Empire, is in a book that is now currently housed in the Vatican Archive. So the question tonight is, you see how we're going to bring all this together as we begin. In the first hour, we can kind of say this is the outline of where things are going to go tonight. But where do you want to take them? Do you want to talk about the possibility of this maybe being, I don't know, werewolves? Maybe dogmen of such, as Jennifer described when she called in? Or is this something else entirely? Is it exactly like they're saying here in this article from Science Alert, that this is nothing more than a cave used by the striped hyena, which of course was native to this area, is still native to this area. And this is some of the weird stuff, right? As this kind of goes through and we're talking about this story, there's some really weird plot holes here, all right? So first off, they said in the Chronicle, right, itself, again, the original housed in the Vatican Archive, guys, right? So what is really in that book that we maybe don't know? First off. Second, now check this out. They say that clearly this cave has been used by striped hyena over a 7,000-year period, right? Sure, fine, except the deal with this is the striped hyena here does not exactly match the description. And also, by the way, they said it's not like a wolf, right? They knew what a wolf was. They didn't even bring up the fact that it may or may not be a hyena, but clearly hyena are native to this area, and they would know what these things were. So you tell me. And what's going on with this giant layer of bones? 1 mile deep, 7,000 years of bones, chewed up and discarded, including, that's right, I said it, human bones. Is that strange to you? Does it seem like this may or may not be a coincidence or related somehow? Yeah, I kind of think it is. So here we go. Here's the actual, again, the attachment I'm using tonight. This is just part of the story. There's more to this story, and we will continue talking about this tonight. But what I want to know from you again, right? So what do you think this is right off? Do you think that it's just, all right, it's the striped hyena, move on, Mike, whatevs? That's cool. If you think that's what it is, then that's fine. However, like I said, it's a little bit strange to me that the people that lived in that area, they know exactly what a hyena looks like. So how come in 774 AD, the Assyrian Empire couldn't simply identify a hyena or a group of them as being part of this man-eating monster invasion? That part seems strange, does it not? That seems to be what I like to call a plot hole. And so, well, what were they? What are these things? Is this exactly what we're talking about with some of this some of this werewolf stuff? Some of the dogmen, like Jennifer was talking about? What's going on here? Is it the same area? Maybe, maybe not. But this particular story happens almost surely within the roaming range of a pack of hyena from this monster invasion in 774 AD. So I don't know. This is the weird part. Like I said, so what do you think this is to start? Like I said, this story gets more strange. And not only that, there's more to it. Meaning that, of course, how could they mistake something native to the area they live, where they're, farming? They've got, like they said, sheep and goats and all this stuff, right? Like they've got farms, actual farms here. And they mistake hyenas for something else, for monsters. I don't know. Like I said, you tell me. We got some serious plot holes in this. But, like I said, is this related? Let's say maybe hyenas inhabit that cave these days. What about, I don't know, in 744 AD? Sorry, 774 AD. Maybe not. Maybe not. So that's the question tonight. Looking to hear from you. What do you think these things are? Do you think it's possible there's some sort of cryptid or monster invasion going on back like 774 AD, like it's described in this chronicle, which we'll continue talking about tonight? And remember, the original book that we're looking at is housed in the Vatican Archive. So a couple things. What do you think these things could be? Do you think it's possible they're dogmen, they're werewolves, they're whatever the heck is happening here? Or another question tonight is, what else do you think may or may not be in the Vatican Archives? That's what's on my mind tonight. You start to think about some of these things, and you start to think about synchronicities and how this kind of fits together. And this the old show we did, like I said, that will never see the light of day because it was horrible. It was one of my first by myself, and I was rushing and didn't know how to tell a good story and all the rest of that. Things have changed, and so this is going to be the new version of that exact same story because we have a modern day find that seems to mesh almost perfectly with this monster invasion from 774 AD. Again, we're taking your phone calls tonight. What do you think this is? What do you think about, the Vatican Archive and the rest of this? So there you go. Now I've put my cards on the table. We're an hour in. I think that's probably paced appropriately. But we can take this conversation wherever you want. Like I said, it's a two-way thing. And if you have ideas or you want to talk about the Vatican specifically, vampires, this particular cave in the bones, that's up to you. And you know what to do. You know how to find us. You can reach this show. Yeah, that's right. At 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we're talking about cryptids. We're talking about the Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD. And, yeah, that's right, we're talking about the Vatican Archives. So what do you think about any of this, about all of this? Love to hear from you. Sometimes you got some hot stuff, and I'm telling you what, this is hot stuff tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break.
secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? This show is live. We're streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls. What is this, you may ask, if you're here for the first time? Well, this is the show where we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what are those things? You know. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Did I mention we were live and we're taking your phone calls tonight? If you want to be part of the show, the number to call is 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we're talking about some crazy stuff tonight. Yeah, that's right. Let's as you have to do in the radio, right? You kind of got to recap because people come and go. Let's recap. Let's start over. Just a little bit, because you guys who have been here and you know what we're talking about tonight. We already had a fantastic call from Jennifer last hour, and so this hour, let's just reboot. I'll just go through this pretty quickly, though, for the recap, but we're looking to hear from you. That's really the goal of this. What do you think is going on with this story so far? So it starts like this. It starts a little something like this. Science Alert reports. Yep, that's right. Giant layer of bones. Excuse me. Holy smokes. Giant layer of bones, including human bones, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave. Okay, a huge hoard of mixed animal bones, including the remains of humans, has been found in an ancient lava tube in Saudi Arabia. That's what happens when you take a swig of beer and it goes down the wrong pipe. The hollowed cave, called Jirsan, Jirsan, is a sprawling lava conduit system underneath the volcanic fields of Harat Khaibar in the northwest of the country. Jirsan extends for a staggering 1.5 kilometers, almost a mile, making it the longest known reported lava tube in Arabia. Within those extensive shadows, wild creatures have been busy. In a new study, researchers report the discovery of hundreds of thousands of bones belonging to at least 14 different kinds of animals, such as cattle, horses, camels, rodents, and more. And some of those bones, you guessed it, are human. Now, of course, right, as you know me, I like to, I'm a student of history, I'm a student of esoteric things and legends and fables and mythologies. And as I read this article, just was a couple days ago, I got really excited because it actually jogged my memory of an old story that goes back to 774 AD. And of course, that story is actually from the Chronicles of Zuch-Nin. And that actual document itself, the Chronicles, as far as I'm aware, there's 4 versions of that, meaning, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those Chronicles. And in the 4th, part 4, this is where we get this weird stuff. This is where we get this exact story that I'm talking about tonight that may be related to this gruesome layer of bones that goes 1 mile deep, hundreds of thousands of bones, and 7,000 years back, they say this cave has been used. So let's go here. I'm going to drop this, and this is from an actual, it's kind of like a Reddit clone website, and it's called POAL.co, and this is where you can find more about this. And let's look at this. So okay, the Chronicle of Zuknin, parts 3 and 4. So they were written actually from 488 to 775 AD, and here we go. Let's see. All right, let's see. I read the first part. There we go. All right. Okay. So here's the thing, right? This is where we started, and this is where we're going to go back to, because this is the story. This is the story tonight. And this book itself, these Chronicles of Zuknin, are actually held in the Vatican Archive, the original copies. So like I said, the questions for the evening are this. We've got this story of the Assyrian monster invasion in 774 AD, of course, and that was present-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, the southern half of those countries. And, of course, just below that, just to the south, is Saudi Arabia, which is where this cave was found, in northern Saudi Arabia. So now, what I'm trying to say is it possible, let's do the ancient alien thing right here. Is it possible that this cave full of bones for 7,000 years, including human bones, is somehow related to this Assyrian monster invasion that happened in 774 AD? And if so, ancient astronaut theorists say yes. I'm just kidding, of course. But okay, now this is the weird part. I'm going to read you just a little bit of this. Like I said, we're kind of just recapping to get us back to take some phone calls. What do you guys think? Questions tonight. Do you think this has something to do with the striped hyena, like the article states, as we begin? Or is it something to do with this Assyrian monster invasion from 774 AD? I'm going to burn through this so you guys, we're all caught up, and then we'll take some phone calls. We got one coming in right now. What's up, James? We'll get to you in just a moment, but we're looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. Let's read this. In AD 774, the Assyrian Empire suffered a frightening invasion of man-eating creatures as yet unidentified. The events were recorded by Denis of Tel Mar, a leader of the Syrian Jacobites, in his chronicles. Before the reign of the Emperor Leo IV, there raged a plague that was followed by the appearance of frightening and terrifying animals who feared nothing and no one. They fled from no man and indeed killed many people. A very little were they like wolves, but their face was small and long, and they had great ears. The skin on their spines resembled that of a pig. These mysterious animals committed great ravages on the people of the Abdin Rock region near H-O-H. In some villages, they devoured more than 100 people, and in many others from 20 to 40 or 50. Nothing could be done to them because they were fearless of man. If a man did pursue them, in no ways did the monsters become scared or flee. Instead, they turned on the man. If men loosed their weapons on a monster, it leapt on the men, and tore them to bits. Now look, the thing that first caught my attention when I found this story a few years back was not only are these things very much like, they're not wolves. It says it right here in the Chronicle itself. They are not wolves. There's something similar. Not only that, they are impervious to weapons, unafraid of men whatsoever, and they fight back and kill people. Now, I was thinking when I first read this, like, hold on, wait a second. That sounds like the Dungeons and Dragons version of a werewolf, right? And the mythology of a werewolf. Meaning this, they say in mythology that a werewolf itself is impervious to weapons of any sort, except, you know what that is? Silver. Right? Silver. Silver bullets. There's a reason. Silver weapons. You see what's going on here? So that's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Are we seriously talking about like a werewolf invasion in the Middle East in 774, written down in a book that's now housed, the original, in the Vatican Archive? That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm talking about tonight. What do you think about this? Is this literally one of those stories where it's too far-fetched? Or you're like, wait a minute, Did you just say the Vatican Archive? Because if so, you're in the right place. Looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. Actually, let's do this again. What's up, my friend? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How are you today? Tonight, this evening.
I'm doing okay.
Right on.
This is a great show. I'm really enjoying this.
Thank you. What do you think? What's your opinion thus far?
You know, it just makes me think of caves in general and cave systems and how hard it is has been for people to explore like an entire cave system safely, you know, since who knows when. And just how hard it can even be to make new caves or, you know, to basically make mines and stuff, and how dangerous that is. It makes me wonder, you know, who or what all could be way down there, you know, where people haven't gotten to yet, possibly.
Right. So you see what I'm saying here. You see the connection. Do you think it's possible? It's in the same area as this monster invasion in 774. You're correct. Like I said, when we started and I talked about Bigfoot, people are like, "Oh, well, how come we don't find any Bigfoots, dead Bigfoots?" Well, this is a perfect example of why we may not. Maybe they go deep underground to die. Maybe they get buried by their kin deep underground. Like, these are the types of things that kind of make me raise an eyebrow because, well, there's a whole lot we don't know about these cave systems, right?
Yeah. And I was just thinking, not only, I mean, who knows, there's all kinds of different creatures that have been talked about over, you know, the years, centuries, really, and decades, and that are supposedly not real because they never are found by most people. But then who knows how? I mean, what if a lot of those also use the caves somehow?
Yeah, exactly. And so it could be like a transient cave, like meaning that different things have used it throughout the years. That's all fine and well. But you know, what if they were? What do you think about the werewolf thing I'm talking about? So not only do we have these weird cave systems, we've got the bones, we've got human bones in there, and we've got this story. And the story again goes back to 774 AD, and they were coming into villages and eating people by the dozens or even hundreds. Well, does it make sense that these human bones might be back in this cave? It's in the same area after all.
And so many of them. That's the crazy thing. It's not like just one or two bones, but I mean, that sounds like a lot of them. So, and I mean, just thinking about mythology, how many different dog or wolf-headed creatures there are that seem human too. I mean, that's and in that area, but just in general, you know. I mean, that's very interesting. I also think that the silver thing is interesting. Kind of touching on the whole. It's interesting that silver is supposed to be good for killing those kind of creatures, and yet when it's applied to like different items, it can supposedly be magnets to paranormal stuff. I don't understand. That's one thing I don't understand about that. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't understand, but that's one of them.
Yeah, so we were talking about when you were on the show, we were talking about mirrors. We didn't really get that far because there's so much with just the mythology of mirrors and like the esoterics and the spells and all that stuff. But we were talking about before about how a particular mirror with a silver frame was somehow going to be more powerful, more whatever it is. And I don't know. That's a good question. We were kind of discussing it before the show, the day before, and it kind of doesn't make sense, does it? Like, what is it about silver, guys? We can add that to the list tonight. So talking about werewolves, how can you can only hurt them with silver weapons or silver bullets? How come... How does it kind of fit into that mythology of the esoterics and the mirrors and everything else? Add that to the list. Again, like always, right? I don't know the answers to these questions, but the fascinating thing to me is the conversation and the questions themselves. So that's what we're here doing. So what about great stuff so far, James? Let me ask you this while I got you on the phone. What do you think about the Vatican Archive? What do you think? Let's say if you had to make like a guess of like the most ridiculous esoteric thing they have in the Vatican Archive. What do you think is there?
Oh, see, I've only been able to study history a little bit here and there. I have no idea, but I would definitely, you know me, I'd be interested in any kind of esoteric stuff relating to spirits and ghosts and all that stuff. Obviously, that's what I would be going for. I mean, I don't know what thing in particular, but that's what I'd be looking for, because that would, and some people would say that would go against what they, what the tenets of the religion. But I just wonder what kind of stuff they have there.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I've got a list. We'll get to that. So, like I said, this, as you guys know, this conversation is open-ended, and so if you want to chase down werewolves tonight and talk about silver and silver bullets and silver weapons and how it relates to this cave and this Assyrian monster invasion in 774, we can do that. If you'd rather talk about what you think and speculate is in the Vatican Archive, just like this chronicle, the actual original tome, the book written, the Chronicle of Zuknin, then we can take it that way too. That's why I kind of like doing it in this format, because who knows, right? We had a great call from Jennifer right off. We got a great call from James right here. The next call can be what? What else? What we got you on the phone, my friend?
Oh, just like I said, just considering there are caves everywhere, and I mean, some of them. I've even heard that some of them, like where there are like crystals and things like that, they're so far down that they're actually like people can't walk around in them for very long because they generate so much heat, and I wonder how much that has to do with anything.
Yeah, you got me. Again, keep an open mind about all the possibilities here. I love it. I love that stuff. Yeah, definitely, man. And so we're gonna keep on trucking here and talking about this. But if you had to say yes or no, I hate to back you into a corner, but werewolves or nah? What do you think about this story?
I'm going to rebel and say maybe.
Damn it, James. All right, perfect. Maybe. Drinking the maybe juice. I love it. I appreciate it. Everybody, this is James Salcedo from Salcedo Paranormal. He's got a podcast. Please check it out. James, thank you for calling. Thanks for being part of this community. I appreciate it, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Oh, thank you. Great show. Yep.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. There we go. Salcedo Paranormal. Check it out. Good stuff. He was on the show last week. We were talking about mirrors and the spookiness of mirrors. All right. So as we continue tonight, that's what we're doing. We're talking about the Vatican Archive. If you want to speculate what may be in there, some of the crazy stories you've heard, or if you want to hear about more of this werewolf type stuff, we can take it down the silver route of why silver weapons, why impervious to regular weapons. Do you think that this Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD has anything to do with werewolves? Again, there's some very similar things here. And, of course, we don't have the light of the full moon. Of course, we don't have, as Jennifer stated, we don't have people changing from, people themselves to werewolves or wolfmen or whatever it happens to be. So there's a couple things that don't really fit. But the impervious to weapons thing, werewolves are definitely, the mythology says that. And that's right here in this, right? The mysterious animals committed great ravages. In some villages, they devoured more than 100 people. That's a lot of people to be eaten in one village, right? You think regular hyenas would do that? Does that sound right to you or anybody else? Not to me. If this is correct, then this is one of those crazy stories that really doesn't get enough play. So here we go. It continues. Let's read just a little bit more of this. Nothing could be done to them because they were fearless of men. If a man did pursue them, in no ways did the monsters become scared or flee. Instead, they turned on the man. If men loosed their weapons on a monster, it leapt on the men and tore them to bits. Yeah, that's right. And this is the Assyrian monster invasion in 774 AD. Happened in modern-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, and, of course, northern Saudi Arabia, which is where this cave was found with all these bones, hundreds of thousands of bones, including human bones. So you tell me. Again, like I said, this is one of those ones that kind of, very much like that plasma UFO stuff that we talk about on this show, sometimes an article comes out and just snaps it all into focus, right? And this is one of those articles where I was like, no way. Where did they find this cave with all these bones, hundreds of thousands of bones, a mile deep, 7,000 years, they say these bones have been collecting in this one particular cave. And I was shocked. I was like, no, really? So I looked it up, and I was like, okay. So northern Saudi Arabia, you got it, borders exactly with present-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq. And I'll tell you what, I was like, oh, snap. This is the spot. This is the spot. This is, right? So anyway, the question for tonight is, do you think this has something to do with cryptids, vampires? I'm sorry, I keep saying vampires. Werewolves, and right from this story. Again, this is a real thing. I had to say this the last time we did this too. Like, people didn't believe. They're like, where did you get this? This is not real. This original book is housed in the Vatican Archive. How real can you get? Right? Why would they be housing this and hiding this? Got me. Anyway, here we go. Let's just read the rest of this. These monsters entered houses and yards and seized and kidnapped children and left. They left with the children, no one daring to offer resistance. They climbed in the night onto terraces, stole children from their beds, and went off without opposition. When they appeared, dogs were afraid to bark. What in the world, right? For these reasons, the country suffered a more terrible experience than it had ever known before. 2 or 3 men were frightened to move around together. You couldn't even move in small groups of people because they'd still eat you, right? Cattle disappeared from the field because all the livestock had been devoured by these dreadful monsters. Indeed, when one of these creatures attacked a herd of goats or a flock of sheep, they took away several at a time. So that's what I'm talking about tonight. Again, this is from the Chronicle of Zuqnin, Zuqnin. And of course, all this is translated from, I believe it's Arabic, I believe is the translation. And so the thing is this, right? I don't know. I mean, this particular article about the bones in the cave, and it just so happened to be in the same region as this story. I think it has to be related, right? Again, like I said, I'm the questions guy. I'm not really the answers guy here, but I was really excited when I found this and was like, no way. This is exactly the same spot where they're talking about whatever these monsters were that showed up and were eating people, impervious to weapons, stealing children in the night. What's going on with this? What is going on with this? And then again, the original copy of these books are held in the Vatican Archive. So you tell me. That's the question tonight. Do you think this has anything to do with cryptids, werewolves, anything like this? You think I'm kind of, just maybe a little bit off the rails here, which is fine. It's kind of what we do, drinking the maybe juice. But if it is related, why do you think the Vatican is hiding these actual original documents? Why are these books behind a lock and key in the Vatican Archives, which we'll get to in a little bit? I got some Vatican stuff we can talk about, but that's what's on my mind tonight. Like I said, sometimes you just get super stoked because you're like, no way, the synchronicity. It's too cool, dude. It's too cool. And here we are. It's that's the way it is. That's the way it is tonight. So, okay, it happened in the same region, and this could very possibly be the same place where the Assyrian monster of invasion of 774 dumped the bones. So you tell me what's going on right now, and that's what's on my mind. Do you think that the Vatican Archive is hiding this for any particular reason, or do you think that I'm just kind of drinking a little too much maybe juice, which is fine by me. That's what we're here to do. This story is amazing, and that's why I'm talking about it tonight. If you haven't heard about it, stick around. We're going to keep talking about this and more about the Vatican Archives, and of course, werewolves, silver, cryptids, a cave full of bones dating back 7,000 years. Sometimes it's too wild. Truth is stranger than fiction. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Give us a call. We'll put you on the show and talk about all kinds of weird stuff. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio. I am your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope, and we're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about a 1-mile deep cave found in northern Saudi Arabia, filled with hundreds of thousands of bones, animal bones, human bones. It dates back 7,000 years, and oddly enough, in 774 AD, there was a monster invasion in Assyria, the Assyrian Empire, of course, which is Jordan, Syria, southern Iraq, and northern Saudi Arabia, which is interesting because I'll tell you what, That cave is smack dab right in the spot, right in the hot spot of where that went down. And so, like I said, it kind of got me excited tonight because I found some synchronicities. I found some weirdness that these stories kind of mesh. And now, not only that, right? One's a brand new news article. It's like an actual legitimate archaeological find, zoological find. And so they claim that it's was used for approximately the past 7,000 years by a striped hyena, okay, which are native to the Middle East, okay, which, fine, that's all fine and well, except again, back in this Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD, they describe in this account that they were impervious to weapons, whatever these monsters were. They ate lots of people, and they would steal children. Men were afraid to fight them because, well, they couldn't kill them, and they would shred the men to pieces. All kinds of badness going on in this story. And like I said, it is interesting that we're talking about the same region of the world within the roaming range of, well, a monster. An actual monster. But okay, right? So that's where we're at. So far, so good. But check this out. It gets deeper. It gets deeper. The actual Chronicle of Zuqnin, Zuqnin, like I said, pardon my pronunciation, I don't speak Persian or Arabic, but the actual chronicles that this story exists in, the original copies are in the Vatican Archive. Now, as Jennifer said when she called in earlier, and she was absolutely correct, a lot of the Vatican Archive has actually been digitized. Well, let's say a lot. A lot doesn't mean most, so we can say a lot, all right? So we can say a lot. So let me check this out. I'm going to link this for you guys because you may not realize you can actually go straight to this website. I'm linking it in the chat. It is digi.vatlib.it, like Digi Vatican Library, Vatlib.it.Italian, right? Italy. So here we go. I'm linking this in the chat, and you guys can check this out. But yes, the Vatican Archive itself has a lot of digitized files now. I mean, it's 2021 for crying out loud. Why not? Let's digitize some of the Vatican Archive. But what do you think is actually in there? That's where my mind is wandering now. So we've linked the cave to the story. And now the cave is linked to the story of the monster invasion of 774 AD, and the actual the original copy is housed in the Vatican Archive. So tell me this. What do you think they're hiding? What do you think the Vatican is hiding? People have said all kinds of good stuff that who knows what they're hiding. Knowledge is power. And of course, if they keep us out of it, then of course, right, they know all the secrets of history, basically. And I've actually equated the Vatican Library itself, the Vatican Archives, to a modern-day Library of Alexandria. If you remember what that used to be in ancient days, people the world over talked about it because it was literally the largest and most comprehensive library in the entire world. And, right, it went back hundreds or thousands of years even, and sadly and grotesquely, it burned to the ground. And all of the knowledge with it. So here's where we're at. The modern day Library of Alexandria resides in Vatican City. Of course, well, you can't get access, can you? Like Jennifer said earlier, you need to be a scholar. You need to get special permissions. And when you go in, you need to know exactly what you're looking for. You're not allowed to browse. You're not allowed to go, let's see what's there. You have to have a very specific request. And not only that, you're only allowed to peruse 3 pages at a time from your specific request. Now, again, right? Think about that. A library that people can only access in tiny pieces. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? That's what we're talking about tonight. It's all over the place. If you want to talk about the cave and the bones, you want to talk about the Assyrian monster invasion of 774, if you want to talk about werewolves and silver, if you want to talk about the Vatican Archive, you're in the right place because we've got it all tonight. Now, weirdly, let's go to this. Like I said, right here, you're looking at the digital version, if you're watching on the stream, the digital version of the actual Vatican Library. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. First, it's mostly in Italian and Latin. All right. So if you don't speak Italian or Latin, you got problems, right? You're not going to be able to really get a lot out of this. You got to go to painstaking translation efforts and the rest of this, right? And not like you can slap it into Google Translate because it's digitized. It's not like a what do they call those when they actually catalog the words inside in like a text file? It's not like that. These are like paintings, right? Anyway, look, let's click one of these just to kind of look at this and see what's going on here. Selected manuscripts. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Let's see what they got. But this is what we're looking at, right? So you cannot easily get information off of this, is my point. So even if, let's say you speak Italian and you speak Latin, still, you see, like a lot of this is very faded. There's a lot of these old photographs that are very faded. And so it would take literally, like you could put a scholar in here and they could spend their entire life and still come away with not all the secrets. Like that's how much actual knowledge they have in the Vatican Library. Like I said, all the links are down below. If you guys are into this and you want to check some of these things out, this is exactly what it looks like. I'm going to go full screen just so you can see what I'm talking about. But this is nuts, right? The Vatican Library digitized. Okay, now this is, like I said, this is neat. This is good stuff. I wish I spoke Italian and actually Latin and was able to read this stuff. So there's the first thing. But then the second thing is, well, if they've only digitized part of it, clearly they're keeping the good stuff, right? Because if they weren't, why would they only limit people to 3 pages at a time? Why would you have to make an appointment? Why are only some people granted access and other people aren't? There's a lot here, right? There's a lot here. All right. So now, to make sure we just go we're halfway off the rails all night tonight. But let's make sure we just go fully and completely off the rails. And let's look at some of the speculations that abound on the internet about what may be in the Vatican archive itself. But of course, as you know, I'll burn through a bunch of this if you guys would rather call, because I'd rather talk to you, and we'll speculate on our own. Why are we going to listen to what somebody on the internet says when we can make up our own speculations? If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And there we go. What's up, Night Stalker shows up. How you doing, my friend? He says half the Alexandria stuff was probably moved to the Vatican. And yeah, probably, right? That would be the logical place for it to go. Now, the Vatican stuff, there's some pretty dirty stories about the Vatican, as you can imagine, right? Like tangled in with the Nazis and like all kinds of just really sick stuff. So we will get to that in the third hour. So as you know, we do 2 hours on the Fringe, and then we do a third hour off on Facebook, YouTube, D Live, and Periscope. So we will do a third hour where we get into some of that information about the Vatican Library, about some of the Nazi connections, so you may be surprised. Maybe you won't, but you may be surprised. But okay, so let's look. What were we going to do here? We were going to look at some of the speculations of the Vatican Library. So here we go. This is from listfirst.com, and this is fantastic. As usual, like I said, I love these lists because you never know, right? It's just kind of people doing some decent research most times, writing these fantastic articles, and then coming up with, good ideas about what we're talking about tonight. And that includes, here we go. So I'm going to burn through some of these. Like I said, I'd rather take your phone calls if you want to chime in on what you think is actually hiding in the Vatican Library, the Vatican Archive. I'd love to hear from you again with 702-957-1037. This show is about us talking with each other. It's not about listening to me. So even though it seems counterintuitive, so please call if you have ideas on this, or you want to talk about, again, werewolves and silver. You want to talk about the Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD. You want to talk about that cave full of bones that goes back 7,000 years. It's all on the table, and here we go. List verse. Number one, of course, they say religious artifacts, right? I'm going to just burn through some of this stuff because we're running out of time here. Unsurprisingly, the Vatican has been rumored to have all sorts of religious artifacts. After all, it is the biggest bastion of Christianity in the world. And to top that, it is one of the oldest still existing institutions in the world, so it should come as no surprise that the Vatican has been rumored to have all sorts of artifacts with religious value. From the cross that Jesus Christ died on, to the Holy Grail, to the Ark of the Covenant, to Noah's Ark. Pretty much every single major Christian Christian artifact has been rumored to be stored somewhere within the Vatican's secret archive. However, it has also been rumored that less well-known and bizarre religious artifacts are hidden away there as well. So, of course, that would be... let's see. Some of the less weird ones are Jesus's foreskin. Okay, gross. The actual non-degraded body of Christ, or even the crown of thorns Jesus wore during his crucifixion. So there we go. Yeah, I don't know. There's some weirdness here, but okay. So there's one. Here we go. Number 9, the bones of Saint Peter. Yep, in 1939, 9 separate pieces of bone were found under St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world and the center of the Vatican city-state. Even more surprisingly, the bones have been said to have been found in an unassuming, humble shoebox. What in the world? Are you kidding me? In 2013, Pope Francis presented the bones to the public in a Sunday service before locking them away again. There we go. There's some speculations on what may exist inside the actual Vatican archive itself. Here we go. Number 8, secular historical proof of Jesus' existence or non-existence. Allegedly, somewhere deep within the Vatican secret archive, there is evidence of either Jesus' existence or lack thereof. Supposedly, inside the Vatican secret archive, there is a recorded version conversation between Emperor Nero of Rome and St. Paul the Disciple, transcribed in some form. If this is true, then potentially, depending on the conversation's contents, it could theoretically either undeniably confirm the existence of Jesus as a historical person or disprove his entire existence and establish him as being entirely fictional. There we go. Good stuff. Number 7. Now, this is where it gets crazy. All right. You guys ready to get crazy? All right. We're still talking about the Vatican Archive. Rather hear from you, 702-957-1037. The chronovisor. You guys ever heard this? The chronovisor. Check this out. Described by Father Francois Brune in his 2002 book La Nouveau Mystère du Vatican, like my French, the chronovisor is a device that is rumored to have been created and owned by the Vatican. The device was theoretically built by the world's greatest scientists in the 1950s. The project was theoretically funded by the Vatican for unspecified reasons. Check this out. The device is said to work like a pair of glasses and were worn up against the face. It was theoretically able to view events from the past. It allegedly worked by processing electromagnetic radiation left over from past events and turning them into visual images and audio. Father Brune claimed to have witnessed historical events such as the crucifixion of Christ and a performance of the lost tragedy Thyestes, I think is how you say that. In any case, what the heck is going on here, right? Is that true? Whoa. Like I said, if we're not completely off the rails at this point, we just went off the rails. All right. The Secret of Fatima. We've talked about this in one of our secret Patreon shows. And yeah, that's right. There is a secret Troubled Minds archive. And if you want access to that, yeah, join the Patreon. Patreon.com. Actually, I'm going to put it up. Look, I'm prepared. Watch this. Patreon right there, right above my head on the stream. If you want to go check out our story about the actual story of Fatima in Portugal. But anyway, in the small Portuguese city of Fatima, I think it's Fatima, I think is how you're supposed to say it, because it's Portuguese, 3 young shepherd children supposedly saw numerous visions from the Virgin Mary. This supposedly culminated in a mass miracle involving the sun. In the first secret, the children allegedly saw the fires of hell filled with hideous demons and the suffering souls of the damned. In the second vision, they saw what World War I would that it would end soon, but the Second World War would start almost immediately afterwards if the Pope didn't consecrate Russia in the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Now this is where it gets super weird. The third secret, however, the third secret of Fatima, Fatima, it's Fatima, I think is how you say it, is the third secret. The third secret was kept a secret until the year 2000, where it revealed to supposedly be about the persecution of Christians in the 20th century and the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. If you guys remember that, back in the 80s, he got shot in St. Peter's Square. However, some people are convinced that the third secret made public was not the same as the one revealed to the children in Portugal that one fateful day. Whatever the case may be, if the secret revealed was a fabrication, it is possible that the real secret is hidden somewhere within the Vatican's archive. Yeah, right. All right. You guys having a good time? Yeah. Are you not entertained? All right, look, this is the crazy part, right? I'm looking to hear from you. What do you think about this? We started with a cave full of bones. We went to werewolves and the Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD. The cave of bones and this thing happened in the same region, literally within ranging distance of a monster or a werewolf or a striped hyena, as they've said. Then the actual story itself from the Assyrian monster invasion is housed in the Vatican Archive. You see, we're kind of all over the place tonight, but we continue. What else may be inside the Vatican Archive? Yeah, they say, actually, rather hear from you. Before we burn through a few more of these, if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show. What do you think about this story? What do you think about the werewolf stuff? What do you think about the cave full of bones? What do you think about the Vatican Archive? What's going on with all this stuff? You see, right? I'm breathless trying to get through this because there's so much. But, like I said, we have a third hour coming. So if you're into that, that will be on YouTube and all the rest of that stuff. But what do you think? What do you think about these things? And yes, Night Stalker knows what I'm talking about. The coronavisor. Yes. Looking back into time. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Could you post that phone number? You rattled it off too fast. I have been told I speak exceptionally quickly. 702-957-1037. It's right there on the stream. You can't miss it. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number and the Discord link right there. So you never have to go and wait for me to read it off super fast. It's right there on the website. Here we go. Some people have speculated the Catholic Church is a demonic institution. Still, some take it a step further and claim that Satan himself is being held within the Vatican's secret archive. Like I said, you want to go way off the rails? We're doing it tonight. Number 4 from this list, the Grand Grimoire. Yep. It's an alleged medieval book that is believed to possess immense powers. It is written in the 16th century by Honorius of Thebes, who claimed to be possessed by the devil himself. In the book, it has instructions on how to make magic talismans and amulets, how to make magic spells, and even how to summon demons. However, most alarmingly, it even offers instructions as to how to summon the devil himself and to make a deal with him. Yep. 3. Paintings of the real Jesus. Unlike what is taught in Sunday school, Jesus was a Hebrew who lived in the mountainous regions of northern Israel. Therefore, he almost certainly would have looked more Middle Eastern than what is often portrayed. As a result, the real historical Jesus would have looked nothing like what is portrayed in popular culture. However, some people believe that the Vatican has at least one contemporary depiction of Jesus' actual appearance. 702-957-1037. And what do you think is in the Vatican Archive? What do you think about the story tonight? Are you having a good time? There we go. There's a couple more we'll get to, and as we continue, but I'd rather take your phone calls, and which is what we're about to do. 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org, and there we are. Let's go to, I'm not sure who this is, but we'll find out. Welcome to Troubled Minds. What's your first name, and where are you calling from?
Phil, and I'm calling from Washington State.
What was your first name again?
Phil, P-H-I-L.
Phil, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I am most excellent, sir.
Right on. Go right ahead. What do you think about this crazy stuff?
So you were talking about silver, the silver to kill the werewolves?
Yes, sir.
And, silver is a powerful, magical thing, a metal. And it's also used by the elves. Their swords were silver. Hello?
I'm here. Elves, their swords were silver. I'm listening to you. Can you hear me?
Hold on here. Yeah, you got to set you down there. Okay. Now I'm just hearing your voice. Okay. Yeah, so silver is the metal of choice for the elves. And as to werewolves, there's a lot of history, right? I mean, there's a lot of history to that.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not going to dispute it. I mean, I don't have any evidence for it. You know, it's not like I got some werewolf bones or something like that. No. But they can be killed. That's the thing. They can be killed. It just depends on when or where. And if you're, silver-coated bullets, you're going to have a better chance of. But I would say that a lot of the cases that where they were attacked after shooting at them is that they probably missed. I mean, it wasn't like the 1774, you said?
774 AD, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so, in the 1770s, whatever. So, I mean, the weapons weren't that accurate even. I mean, I don't think they had rifling in them at that point.
No, definitely not.
Or they were just getting it. So, I mean, they could just have been easily missing them. And, you shoot at a cornered animal, it's going to attack you. I mean, it's not going to give you a second chance.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. So they said they were hunting in packs. They were stealing children. They weren't afraid of mankind. None of their weapons had any effect. So presumably they had crossbows, probably regular bow and arrows. So they're saying those didn't work. So there's a little more to it. But so what do you think though? We're running out of time here, so we gotta cut to the chase. Here's the thing though. If you want to hang on at the as we finish the top of the hour, I'm not trying to run you off. We got plenty of time for you. But let's get your idea on what this was, this monster invasion of 774. Do you think it was hyenas or wolves or something, or do you think it was something a little more paranormal than that?
Well, I mean, this could be a lot of things, right? So it could be the mythology of the werewolf, where some creature way back in time bit somebody, and it's carried that species on. But I have an alternative view that it could be the canines that are associated with the Draco in the Orion Wars. And there's been on Gaia TV, they've had a guy on there that talked about these kind of wolf creatures.
Okay. So you think it's possible too. It's related there? Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that. I got you. So Phil, you're the best man. Thanks for the call. We're going to finish this show right now, but we're going to a third hour. Do you want to hang on and talk about this for a little more? You have to wait for a couple minutes.
Sure. No, I'll hang on.
Okay, so we'll put you on hold. We'll be right back with you, Phil. Thanks for the call. Hang tight. We'll be right back with you. All right, so as we finish, right, we're all over the place tonight, but that's really what this show's about. We're not going to be constrained to just one thing. We talk far-ranging, and hopefully you had a good time tonight. Hopefully you learned something tonight, even if it was a little strange and esoteric and kind of out there. That's what we do here. We talk about, we drink the maybe juice, and that's what we do. So if you love the show, please spread the word. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. Hang tight, Phil. Be right with you. Stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void if you're listening on the Fringe FM. If you're listening anywhere else, stay tuned for a third hour Troubled Minds. All right, guys, we are off the fringe, and we got one more hour coming up of Troubled Minds. So, if, like I said, if you're super into this, then I'm super into you. Let's do this. So we got Phil on the phone. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute break just to kind of split up the two segments here, the on the radio and off the radio. So hang tight, Phil. 2 minutes, we'll be right with you. And we're still taking your phone call, guys. What do you think about this stuff? What do you think about the Vatican Archives? What do you think about this Syrian monster invasion of 774? What do you think about werewolves and silver? And like as you can see, we're kind of ranging all over the place, and that's how we do it. That's how this show works. So here we go. So I'm going to play a little bit of music. Hang tight, Phil. We'll be right back with you. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. I'm going to go let the dog out, and we're going to keep on trucking. Who let the dogs out? Well, the dog anyway, singular. I did. Here we go. All right. 2-minute break. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds. The third hour coming up. Be right back. Hang tight, Phil. Be right with you, my friend. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio, and we got Phil on the line, so we're going to go straight to Phil. Thanks you for being patient, my friend. Welcome back to the show.
You bet, man.
All right.
I would like to talk about that Vatican, too, if you don't mind.
Sure, we got plenty of time. Go right ahead. So did you want to finish your point about silver and werewolves before we go to the Vatican?
Well, I mean, the only thing I can say about it, it is long been held as a weapon against. Well, I know the association of silver with the elves, like I said, the elves, and I also was thinking about this attack form. It sounded similar to Sasquatch, right? Bigfoot. I mean, there's been cases of that, firing at Bigfoot and seeming the bullet went right through him. If these creatures can phase shift, I mean, that puts them in a whole different realm of, trouble right there. Because, I mean, they can go from 3D to 4D and come back, so you're going to have a hard time killing them for sure, because you're going to have to catch them right when they're, and probably right when they're going for your throat.
Exactly. You know what's a little bit weird, too, about that specifically? It reminds me of the, Skinwalker Ranch. They have those ghost wolves that they shot them point blank range with a shotgun, and it had no effect whatsoever. So interesting, maybe that different type of parallel there with your phase shifting theory. Good stuff, my man. But okay, so what about the Vatican? What do you think is going on with the Vatican Archive?
Okay, so a couple of things about the Vatican. One thing, the burning of Alexandria, that was the Vatican, or that was the Roman Catholic Empire, let's put it that way. Or the Roman Empire. I don't know which. I'm not too solid on the history right there, but I do know that they were responsible. But what I've heard is that they took out all the good stuff, and what they burned were the tax records and stuff like that were in the Alexandria Library. So they actually have, the theory is, and some people have a whistle blown on them, they have everything in there. They've got the Library of Alexandria, all the good stuff. They've got sacred geometry. They've got UFO material. They've got the alien stuff. I'm pretty sure. I've heard that they've got about everything, and they work with the CIA and those people and exchange information at times.
Exactly, yeah. And so you would expect, right, some of the most salacious stuff in human history that they would have, they would know. And like you said, some of the speculations is wild, way out there, like maybe the original spell book from King Solomon himself, as he summoned demons to build the first temple, right? Things like this, like those are the types of things they're rumored to have in these types of archives. And we said previously in that list. Yeah. Do they have the actual tome, the actual spell itself to summon and make a deal with the devil himself? That type of stuff, right? Who knows, right? Who knows what kind of spell casting paraphernalia they have in that joint, man?
Well,
I tell you what.
Yeah, there's been oftentimes when they would they'd have what they could call a warlock, or this would be like a priest that was studied in the black arts, and he would try to infiltrate a witch's coven, a group of women maybe that were doing healings and midwives and whatnot, and he'd come in there and impress them with his magic works and basically, wrap them all out, and they would take all of their spell books and all that and, bury them away into the archives. I mean,
exactly, for thousands of years even, right? Like there's an unbelievable amount of things that, like Night Stalker said there, he said probably some of the, what the remnant was left of the Library of Alexandria probably ended up, like you suggested, in the Vatican itself. If it all didn't burn down, they probably took it and kept it safe for, quote, safe from us, safe from prying eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can hope that they took care of it properly. But I mean, they've been collecting that stuff, like you said, for thousands of years. I mean, we're talking, 400 AD, something like that, when Constantine came up with this Council of Nicaea and took out all the books out of the Bible. And so, I mean, this whole thing has been, I mean, they monkeyed with everything. They've got their little hands on into everything. And
yeah, totally.
Then you get into the whole problem with kids and all that stuff with the priest. I mean,
yeah, yeah, right. That goes without saying. That's modern
with the Catholic Church hierarchy.
Right, exactly. You know what's crazy too, thinking about it. So we have clearly, just like the Bible is, they say that it's probably been in its unaltered form, very close anyway, for probably 1,500, 1,800 years, something like that. So you got to imagine, like with the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Gnostics and things like this, what other kind of banned from the Bible type stuff do you think they have? Like you said, the Council of Nicaea. What if they have some holy smackerel stuff that's just not even close to making the cut? And that, imagine the most salacious Bible stuff that got cut out. I'll bet you there's an amazing group of stuff there. Huh?
Well, yeah, no, I can tell you one book that they cut out was Enoch.
Yeah, for sure.
He talked about the Nephilim and all of that. So. And then there's the book of Mary Magdalene, the book of Philip, all the Nag Hammadi texts, all those were taken out.
Yep.
So, I mean, a lot of the new Bible, the New Testament is, I mean, there were somewhere in the realm of about 100 different books, and we're whittled down to 60, so they took out 40 different books out of the whole tome of the Torah and the New Testament.
Exactly. But those are the ones we know about. Imagine the ones that never caught wind in any kind of historical context. Imagine some really out there stuff. What about the book of whatever gospel that was talking about aliens or something like that, like direct aliens or something like that, right? It's possible, right? Crazy stuff.
I mean, and who knows whether the book, any of the books that they did keep, are actually the book of that. I think they rewrote most of this. I mean, they certainly rewrote it so that it would fit within what their dominant religion of the time of Constantine was, Mithraism. So that's why they put Jesus's. So they've done a lot of things to hide the actual birth and life of Yeshua and Joseph.
Right.
Or
right.
Jesus is the Greek term for him.
Right, exactly.
I've talked to the dude. He likes Yeshua better than Jesus. I'm just going to tell you.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough. I prefer my birth name as well. All right. Phil, you're amazing, my friend. First time caller, right? Where'd you find us?
Actually, I found you off of Facebook, and I went to the Fringe, and then I saw, you got a YouTube, and I came over here, and fortunately I got the number off of YouTube, and thank you very much for doing that.
Nice.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, I appreciate that you appreciate it, and thank you for calling in. Like I said, the whole reason for doing this show is to hear what people think. And you fantastic. First time you found us, you called in. So I'm going to ask you, and I mean this, please call in more. Because I always say that to people, and they're like, well, I call in a lot. It gets to be too much No. If you like the conversation, call me every day, man. You're totally good. You're welcome here anytime, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I will come in and I will try to be polite and not get your channel burned, because I've already burned my own. So
I appreciate that.
Very careful.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for being respectful of the technocrat, lawlessness as it is.
Well, I'm not respectful of them. No, don't get me wrong.
Right. I got
know
you.
What they're like, and I'm not going to try to burn somebody else out there.
I understand, and I thank you for that.
We're in an age we have to talk around the truth sometimes.
Exactly.
Especially when you're doing out there on the fringe, you can kind of talk more freely. Man, if you try to talk about anything that's got anything to do with medical, man, they'll burn you.
Yep, exactly right. You notice we dodge that as much as possible. Thanks again. Anything else while we got you on the phone tonight?
Just that I think we're winning. That we're going to get rid of the Draco and the Greys, and that the Galactic Federation will become part of the Galactic Federation. So I think we're on the road to recovery, but I can't say for sure, because this is just what I'm getting from above.
I'm with you. I'm crossing my fingers.
Not seen the evidence yet,
and we're hopeful of that with you. We're positive here, looking for a positive future. We are not doom and gloom fearmongers. So I appreciate you being positive as well. Thank you, Phil. I look forward to hearing from you in the future. Okay.
All right. You take care, man.
Thanks a lot, brother. You too. Have a great night. Brother. You too. There you go. And look at that. Find us on Facebook, pick up the phone and dial, and get in here. It's as simple as that. Thank you, Phil. Fantastic, right? First-time callers means the family is growing. Means that we're getting more and more folks that are, interested in this type of conversation. And like I said, it's non-linear. If you want to take this anywhere you want to take this, open-ended, non-linear. Like I said, what are we on to tonight? Werewolves in Silver. We're on to the Vatican Archive. We're talking about the coronavisor. We're talking about, an actual Assyrian monster invasion in 774 AD. Like, we're talking about an unbelievable amount of things all in one conversation, because it all seems to mesh, does it not? You like that? Like I said, we started a cave full of bones, and we ended up with the Vatican Archive and what crazy stuff might actually be there. Still taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. Let's go to Derek in Massachusetts. I'll give him a sec to unmute, and let's bring him in. The Night Stalker. What's up, my man? Derek in Massachusetts, what's up? You are on a Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? Nope. There we go. We got it all fixed up. How are you, sir?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Going on, brother. Great show tonight.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I think that the gauge of some of them I hate, right? We get like 2/3 in, I'm like, this sucks. But if I'm having a good time into the third hour, it better be a damn good show.
Oh yeah. I was napping, unfortunately, for the beginning of it, so I missed it. I would have called on earlier.
Not right on. You missed a classic. But go ahead. I'm sure you caught a bunch of stuff at the end here. What's on your mind?
I'm checking in the archives for sure.
Appreciate it.
Phil mentioned a bunch of the stuff. I'm not really sure what I think is down there, but I think it'd be cool if they have like every secret down there. Like there should be a show. They should make some kind of secret Vatican underground archive show where like is a different like adventure every week, some kind of Indiana Jones type thing. So for starters, like I definitely think they have giant bones, and Phil mentioned the Book of Enoch, and I think there's a lot of theories that the Smithsonian is covering up all the giant bone discoveries, and then they're sending it off over to the Vatican, and people be like, why would the Vatican care about giant bones? Like, why do they care about all this stuff? Like, they don't care about evolution or Charles Darwin and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of giants in the Bible, so any kind of that biblical tangential knowledge would go there, and obviously all like the biblical type stuff, all the spooky stuff that's in the Bible. But you mentioned like grimoires and stuff, so I wonder if any kind of Lovecraftian stuff's over there, like the Necronomicon, or any kind of like ancient lost remnants of like Cthulhu cults, or like actual bodies of titans and stuff. You know what I mean? Of Lovecraftian old ones, like giant bones to the 10th degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you would expect, right? Like that's really part of the creepiness of what they're covering up. Like it is a cover up. Like you can't get in there.
Yeah.
And so you literally are going back to probably the most like oldest and sacred books in humanity. I mean,
exactly.
I'm with you, man. Like maybe they've got like the actual like spell books to summon those portals and bring in Cthulhu himself. You know?
Exactly.
Like,
I think they definitely do. Yeah.
Right? That wouldn't surprise me at all. Like that type of stuff, right? Like it seems wild when you say it, right? But like think about it. If anybody could do it, and that knowledge still exists somewhere, I would guess that the Vatican probably has a stranglehold on that stuff. And not only that, it's probably hidden in its own sub-vault of vaults, like underground below the vault. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like yeah.
Like the fact that we know about that there is a secret underground archive. Like there's different links to say it's like 56 miles worth of secret books or whatever. The fact that that's almost common knowledge makes me think that they have way more than that. You know, like that's like the top secret level. But then there's like the Q clearance level, top secret stuff, where it's like the underground tunnel below the underground tunnel. You know,
exactly.
What if they built the Vatican on top of something like physical? Like what if they have some kind of Earth secret? Like what if they're built on top of like a Hollow Earth entrance, something like that, or like an actual Stargate? There's like a lot of talk of like the whole Iraq War was because they have a physical Stargate there. So what if like the Vatican is the same way, or what if they just like found one and moved one over there? You know, like the next Stargate spinoff should be SG Vatican, something like that. SGV.
Totally, totally. Which again, right? If so they said that Stargate you referenced in Iraq was actually from ancient Babylonia. And so that in particular is that that they if that knowledge exists. Well, where would they move it? I like the way you think.
Exactly.
Maybe it is there. Maybe it is in the archive itself. Yeah, yeah.
And you were you were talking about like the earliest books, and that made me think of like, I don't know where this reference is coming from, but like the idea of like a book where you can like open it up and it's like blank, but then it gives you the answers. And I can't put the word to like what that's called, but like a mythological book that's like doesn't have any writing in it, but you open it and it tells you whatever you want. I mean, like, what if that's the whole library? What if the library is some like metaphysical thing that they have? Like, what if they have like some kind of tangible link to like the Akashic record? You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. There's your link right there, is the Akashic record. So a blank book with all the answers. You just open it up. You think yeah. The question, and the answer pops into your brain. Yeah, and again, I'm willing to do all that. Reminds me a little bit of D&D, the bag of holding. You ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
No, I want to.
Yeah, they had a bag of holding that's like a regular, like a little sack. But it's kind of like a portal, so you can like dump things into this sack and kind of like tie it up. But it's like you're carrying like an elephant in there. Same sort of thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like what if they have some kind of like Matrix white room? Like Lily posted the Matrix GIF in the Fringe Discord of like when he takes Morpheus, or when Morpheus takes Neo to like the white room or whatever and gets all the guns and everything. Like what if that's what it's like? What if the Pope or whoever goes down into this like white room and like presses the button, and all of a sudden like he's teleported, or like all the information he's looking for rushes in? Or what if all of a sudden like it's kind of like a chronovisor type thing, where instead of like seeing the past or like the crucifixion or whatever, this white room transports him to the event? You know, what if he presses a button and all of a sudden he's in the Jurassic era looking at dinosaurs and stuff? Right now we're pretty much just writing sci-fi. This has no basis in reality at all, but it's fun to me.
Yeah, no, again, we're okay drinking the maybe juice and going there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's part of the conversation, right? Like, I mean, think about it though. Like we have like an actual historical basis for a monster invasion, and then we have like an actual historical modern day link to possibly that incident. I mean, ancient
Exactly.
astronaut theorists say yes. I don't know if you caught that part of the show, but I mean, shit. If we get that far, let's go to bags of holding in the Akashic record. Why the hell not, man? Why the hell
Exactly.
not? Yeah. So do you think? Go ahead.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
This is a weird Vatican Pope link that I'm reminded of. But last year, like 2019 range, the Pope got in trouble for he funded 2 movies secretly. Like he put up Vatican funds, like $44 million of the Vatican money to fund 2 Hollywood movies. And this is like during the middle of a controversy where people were saying he's spending too much of the Vatican's funds on like frivolous things or whatever. And the movies he funded were the Elton John movie Rocket Man, and then Men in Black International, the one with Chris Hemsworth in it.
Seriously?
Yeah. So this is a true thing. I can post a link in the chat after I get the phone. But he funded an alien movie. The Pope funded a movie about aliens and like a secret alien organization that like is underneath the working in the shadows. You know. So what if they have that? Like I'm visualizing this like Vatican TV show idea where like you have this one section where it's like all the Stargate stuff, and you have like the SVG people, like those troops or whatever. And another section you have the ones dealing with like the giant monsters and stuff. Because like if you go into the Vatican like throne room, or I guess whatever it's called, and you look at like where he sits and stuff, I'm not sure if it's like the official one or if it's just one of the churches in the Vatican, but it looks like there's a giant snake behind him. And I'll post that picture.
Yep.
And it's like
exactly
the hordes of and the hordes of demons are like erupting from like behind him, and
behind the throne. Behind the throne.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The whole like actual building or like ceiling looks like it's like reptilian eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So like, what if this one section where it's all alien stuff? They got all kinds of crafts, or it's kind of a spoiler, not really a spoiler, for the Marvel What If show that like came out last night. Was the second episode, and there's one scene, not really a spoiler, where they have the Collector, which is like this cosmic being. He's like a Thanos level cosmic celestial being who just like collects weird objects from around the universe. And a lot of it's like people, like different types of organisms or whatever, but also different weapons and different crafts and that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much what I'm imagining. Just like any type of fringy, weird thing is just down there. You know, different levels, like an elevator with different buttons you can press. You know.
Yeah, and think of it too, like in spellcraft, right? Like we've got, you know, they say there's dangerous tomes out there and things like this, right? Don't mention the name of the demon, don't invoke the names, right? Things like this. But imagine, like, holy shit, the amount of like unbelievable like spell casting stuff. I mean, holy smackerel, man! Like, and that's the frightening part, right? So if they literally have stuff down there where you could, right? Like CERN is nothing. If you got a spell,
exactly.
You're like, what's up, Cthulhu? Yeah. Let's have lunch. Like that's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts, man. Thinking about it, like it is its own rabbit hole all by itself, because even just like if it's not, you know, magical knowledge or things like this, right? Or, you know, again, like a cover up of like maybe this werewolf invasion, I'm going to call it, because why not? We're drinking the maybe juice tonight. But if it's a cover up of something like that, where it's like a historical WTF, fine. But then again, once you start getting into some like magical things, man, I tell you what, man, like I don't even think my imagination is enough to cover probably the things they have there, right? It gets wild.
Well, here's one wild imagination one. Well, first, did you see? You watched Lovecraft Country, right? The first few episodes, at least, of it.
I did. Yep.
Do you know, like that cult, like the Order of the Ancient Dawn or whatever? It's like kind of like a play on the Order of the Golden Dawn, with that cult that's trying to open the portal to like release these old ones to like create this paradise or whatever on Earth or whatever they're trying to do.
Yep.
And they have this like machine, like they have those. I forget the term, but it's like a celestial like terrarium kind of, where all these different globes and all the different celestial objects are kind of going around, and it maps their like trajectory and stuff, and where they all kind of align up together is like when the rituals happen and that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm visualizing beneath the Vatican, is just this giant like celestial terrarium, or like this like, I don't know, where where they see all the alignments and they can kind of like access these different realms through the different doors. They have the maps pretty much. Like half the questions we have for all these weird stuff is we don't have the maps. We don't have the maps to the astral plane, the dream realm, the psychedelic realms. We don't have the maps to other dimensions. We don't have the maps to anything in space. What if it's all there? What if they got all of it? You know, like every question that there's no way we have these questions and then people like us haven't had these questions forever throughout history, especially when there's like no TV and other stuff distracting them from thinking about this stuff. So if these questions are constantly being sought out, I just think the Vatican's job is just to find who's answering them and steal it all, you know, and they just got it all, like throughout history, starting with Library of Alexandria and stuff, you know, they got it all. But as far as like what weird sci-fi thing could we possibly think of? What if we're living in a simulation and they got like the main hub, the main computer, like the thing that's powering the simulation is beneath the Vatican. You know what I mean?
I love it. The actual supercomputer that's running the simulation is. I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. Why not? I mean, why the hell not, man?
Why not?
If it's going to be anywhere, right? I mean, why the hell not? Yeah. Again, like I said, fantastic stuff. You were always on the ball with this, and I love when you call because exactly like you're barking up the right tree and you're in the right place with these conversations. But I don't know. Let's say you had your dream pick of what actually exists there. Like you're literally like whatever you imagine right now is what they actually have. What would be your one pick of like, well, the Vatican has this and it's real.
The thing I'm most confident that they have, like if I was to put money down and say they definitely have this, it's giant bones. Like I think giant bones, it's like borderline, almost accepted science. To like, I think maybe not our grandkids, but my like great grandkids might learn about giants in school. It's like that close to being like accepted history. So I think that they have that for sure. But what would I selfishly want to exist? Is the Stargate thing. I just think the Stargate idea is really cool. But also, what if it's not a Stargate machine the way it looks like in the show, which I've just dove into for the first time. But what if it's like kind of a Hollow Earth type door, like kind of like Godzilla vs Kong when they go into the Hollow Earth, but they had to get through that like gravitational flux. Like a lot of cool Hollow Earth theories is that you're not actually going into this like giant empty cavity inside the actual Earth body, but these caves lead to like quantum tunnels or like Rosen bridges that the ancients might think they're just walking through a cave and then they end up somewhere else, but in reality there's like some kind of doorway in the cave. Like what if they have some kind of Stargate Hollow Earth type entrance where they can get to somewhere. Like they press a certain elevator and they get out, and in front of them is this giant glowing door where they can access and go potentially maybe anywhere they want. I don't know. That'd be the coolest thing probably. Okay. Is like a access to the international or the intergalactic superhighway that might exist. You know?
and since we're dreaming, we may as well start it in Agartha. the door
exactly.
To Agartha. Yeah, man, amazing stuff. You don't have to go anywhere. You're welcome to stay as long as you want. But I don't know if you caught the cryptid invasion there, the monster invasion.
No, I missed that part. I missed that part. Can you explain that real quick?
Yeah. Let me catch you up. All right. So we started tonight. It's actually good to recap because again, radio people kind of come and go. So we started here. There's this article that came out sciencealert.com today. Giant layer of bones, including human bones, discovered in gruesome Saudi Arabian cave. All right. Now, so the reason this piqued my interest, this is from August 16th, 2021. This is brand new. They just found this out. The cave goes a mile deep. It has hundreds of thousands of bones, including human bones. All right. And so I was like, wait a minute. And it's in northern Saudi Arabia. And I was like, okay, now, wait, because a couple years ago I did a show on this, and I'll read it to you real fast. The Assyrian monster invasion in AD 774, which of course was spanning portions of present-day Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, which are just north of where this cave was found in northern Saudi Arabia, all right? This AD 774, they suffered a frightening invasion of man-eating creatures as yet unidentified. The events were recorded by Daenerys of Tel Mare, a leader of the Syrian Jacobites, in his chronicles. Before, I'm going to just burn through this so you're caught up. Before the reign of Emperor Leo IV, there raged a plague that was followed by the appearance of frightening and terrifying animals who feared nothing and no one. They fled from no man and indeed killed many people. A very little were they like wolves, but their face was small and long, and they had great ears. The skin on their spines resembled that of a pig. These mysterious animals committed great ravages on the people of the Abdon Rock region near Hoh, H-O-H. In some villages, they devoured more than 100 people, and in many others, 20 to 40 or 50 people. Nothing could be done to them because they were fearless of man. If a man did pursue them, in no ways did the monsters become scared or flee. Instead, they turned on the man. If men loosed their weapons on a monster, it leaped on the men and tore them to bits. These monsters entered houses and yards and seized and kidnapped children and left, no one daring to offer resistance. They climbed in the night onto terraces, stole children from their beds, and went off without opposition. When they appeared, dogs were afraid to bark. For these reasons, the country suffered a more terrible experience than it had ever known. 2 or 3 men were frightened to move around together. Cattle disappeared from the field because all the livestock had been devoured by these dreadful monsters. Indeed, when one of these creatures attacked a herd of goats or a flock of sheep, they took away several at a time. Now, that's the story. Now, the link back to the Vatican Archive is, this was written in 4 volumes called The Chronicles of Zuqnin, Z-U-Q-N-I-N. And the originals, guess where they're at? In the Vatican Archive. That's right. Wow. That's how we got talking about this tonight.
so I got I got a couple of thoughts on that. First, that could be like some kind of tale of like encountering another human species. Like at one point, there was most likely like Cro-Magnons, Neanderthals, Denisovans, plus like maybe a lot of weirder stuff, and that like so maybe that was like chronicling some kind of encounter with them, which is like the least boring version of it, or like the most boring version of it. But I think that location, like Jordan, Iraq, and stuff. Iraq, as we mentioned already, the Stargate. But that like world grid that I talk about, this one where like you can put in like the path of the sun and the meridians and the river deltas, which you can actually make a grid that shows up on Google Earth, like using those things. The person who found it, it's just like this random YouTuber, like a bunch of years ago, was looking for the axis mundi, which is like the point where all these lines intersect, where that would be on the planet, and that was in Jordan. So the idea that like potentially, what if they opened a door and something like erupted from the gates of hell or from this portal, and created these monsters, or what if the monsters themselves escaped? It sounds like, again, like Lovecraft Country, those like grayish, like pig dog beasts with like no eyes that have like, that have that like pig, like gray pig skin kind of that they talk about.
Exactly.
So like,
yeah. And so in this cave with all the bones. Now the craziest part about this story is that they say that it's the striped hyena. All right. That's who's been doing this. 7,000 years of bones, hundreds of thousands of bones, human bones, all kinds of different bones. The cave is a mile deep. They say it's, from the striped hyena. But hold on now, right? So if we're talking about literally the exact same area and this whatever monster invasion, and I like the way you're thinking here, maybe, right? It was some sort of something where they opened, I don't know, they read the wrong spell. They're like, oh, oops.
Exactly.
No, not that one.
Exactly.
And then out comes the hounds of hell, right? And then, so who knows, right? Maybe they were banished back and that's why they disappeared. But if you look at this cave with all these bones, again, it's within ranging of like a standard hyena. But here's the craziest part. A striped hyena is native to that area. So are you telling me they didn't know it was a hyena?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Come on.
It sounds like some kind of underworld lichen type thing, some kind of wolfman type creature. I mean, yeah, it's something they opened a door. They said the wrong incantation and let something loose, or like some kind of hordes of demons like inhabit the bodies of actual humans and create them into some kind of like werewolf monster. Like perhaps that's like the origin of the werewolf mythology. like in Buffy, I know like I always some reason always go back to the Buffy mythology because it's like so close to Lovecraft. It's almost the same mythology. But the first vampire and like the first like all the demons that you see on Buffy and Angel are like hybrids essentially. It's that the real demons are Lovecraftian. They call them ancient ones, and they are Lovecraftian old ones. And those are purebred demons. And they like when they were getting cast out of this realm, they like bit a human and mixed an old one in human blood and created a vampire or these demons that walk the earth. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. It's like something got loose out of some kind of portal or some kind of door or some kind of spell that they said, and then mixed with humans, like some kind of a horde of like 1,000 demons landed into man and created him into like these wolf monsters. And then all of a sudden the Vatican Templar force had to come and exterminate all these. Like I imagine they have some kind of like BPRD Hellboy paranormal task force that they have to go out and handle all these problems. You know what I mean? Or like the movie Priest, where they like battle vampires and they actually have this like supernatural like group of priests to go and handle all these supernatural problems. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like to imagine. Right now we're just pitching a Vatican show. Like somebody's going to take this from us.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Exactly. We're every single thread that comes out of this is like its own show. You could go into that. But see, what you're describing there is not too different from the time travel episode we talked about this week, where assuming you were part of that, yeah? You called in for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Assuming that we do have like a time travel or like a portal type of situation, then there's got to be some greater force managing that magic, as it were, whether it's magic or science, right? Again, right? The Einstein says, hey, once that time machine is created, you can't go back, you can only go forward. So there's got to be somebody forward managing the past. It's the same thing with magic, right? Like, because, well, what did Arthur C. Clarke say? What about magic and science? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what it reminds me of. Like when you were telling the story, I was thinking like if it happened anywhere near current day, I would say that it's just a technology we don't understand. That it's just some kind of hybridization program that they like wiped away. You know, that's what it sounds like. You gotta like clear the book, so you gotta wipe away any evidence of this you hybridizing some kind of wolf human creatures. You know. And that's like in all kinds of ancient mythology, like the Anunnaki and everything. They have just tale after tale of them creating some kind of hybrid species or some kind of trial run of humans and then wiping it clean. You know, so perhaps that's like the Vatican running some kind of test run and trying to get rid of it. But also like the secret group that's like kind of running the show. It makes me think of the Men in Black, and especially because they put money into the Men in Black movie. That like, what if the Men in Black don't just deal with aliens? Like, what if they're dealing with people who are popping in and out of time when they're not supposed to? Or what if you found some kind of like, what if you stumbled? I think these portals and stuff are naturally forming and exist like all over the planet. Like they're different sizes probably and go probably to different places and different realms. But I think we can stumble on them. I think a lot of them are snatched up, so it's rare. It's harder to do. But say, for instance, you stumble on one in your hometown or whatever. I think you might be visited by the Men in Black. You know, so there maybe Men in Black headquarters is located beneath the Vatican. You know.
Yeah. So
it's possible.
What was that? What's that movie with Keanu Reeves where he's like killing demons? What's that called?
Constantine.
Yeah. Where it's like that, right? So it's kind of like a merger between the Men in Black, the aliens, and that whole bit. But then you have like the priest that's also like kind of keeping the portal magic in check and running demons back to where they came from.
Exactly. That's Hellboy in the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Development. It's like they have essentially Hellboy goes and stops supernatural things from happening. You know, and it's a time cops for supernatural stuff. And I think it's definitely possible. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll let the people behind me come on and everything, but it's fun chat, Mike. Great show tonight.
Sure. I appreciate it. Derek, Massachusetts, you're the best, my friend. The Night Stalker.
You're the man.
Anything else?
Later, brother.
All right, man. Have a good night.
No, that's it.
All right.
Later.
All right. Too much good stuff. There you go. Too much good stuff. So you guys tell me, You guys tell me. I have no idea what's going on here, right? Like I said, we started with a cave full of bones, and we ended with portals, a time police, and Constantine type. It gets nuts, right? So we got a few minutes left on this show. So what are your thoughts on this? Again, we did the quick recap there. I appreciate that, Derek from Massachusetts. That's a Night Stalker. Calling in. We have time. If Jennifer, I see you got some other good thoughts there. If you want to call back in, you're definitely welcome to. Anybody else? 702-957-1037. Hop on in here and tell me what you think about not just tonight's show. What about the larger implications of something like this? Is it possible, right? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, but is it possible that this cave of bones, literally within a range of like a hyena, right? Like they've described, the striped hyena, is maybe related to this actual Assyrian monster invasion back in 774 AD, right? Again, southern Jordan, Iraq, and Syria. And this cave was found in northern Saudi Arabia, which is just south of that area. So it's literally right there. It's almost like this is exactly where those bones would be deposited. Yeah, I don't know. I know you guys tell me. What do you think about the show? What do you think about what do you want to hear tomorrow? Feedback, all that good stuff is always good. And just looking to hear from you. What's up, Rohan? I see you there, buddy. Thanks for jumping in. How are you? The mighty Rohan. What's up, Tam Bam? What's up, Sherry? What's up, guys? Who'd I miss? Scully. Our DNA is the map, says Scully. That's why meditation, psychedelics, etc. help us tap into the cosmic conscious to access the Akasha calls. Hey. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing well, man. Sorry, I forget you guys are on a delay. Welcome to the show, man. What the hell, right? Tell me, we slaughtered this MF today, didn't we? Holy shit, what a show this was. Like I said, sometimes I'm like, this sucked. Nah, today didn't suck. Today totally didn't suck. What do you think, man? See, there's my monster dog right there. Did you hear that? Did you hear her bark? Rohan. The mighty Rohan.
Sorry, bro. There's a huge delay. It's 27 seconds, and then I didn't redirect the audio. Anyway, hi.
Hello. Hi. Let's
hi.
Wait, we gotta change it to the call-in screen so I could wave from the bunker. Hi. Okay. All right. Everybody loves that. What's up, my man? What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, 27-second delay. You have to do it for 27 seconds, Mike. Sorry.
That's all right. You're on. Okay. Go right ahead.
Yeah. Night Stalker made a couple of points that it triggered me. It did.
Right.
Yeah, but I've had a few thoughts on this, so I just want to go through my little list. Okay, so I'll start off with when you mentioned the silver and the werewolves, and you got me thinking back to, I don't know where it came from, this Doctor Who episode I saw where the royal family were werewolves centuries ago, and that's where blue blood disease came from, right? You know, Royal's disease, haemophilia. Yeah.
Yep.
Where the blood don't clot properly.
Yep.
So just by chance, I thought I'll just stick it in a browser and just put silver for blood clotting. And it turns out I found a science article about using nanoparticles to help with blood clotting. And I thought silver, blood, it's all blood and garlic and silver, isn't it, and all that stuff. I thought, well, that was interesting. The silver does work with blood clotting, and that's Royal's disease. And you think,
is there something to it? Like lycanthropy?
Yes. And then I was noticing just by chance today again, so because I'm looking at like the land and stuff, doing camping and things, looking at that, I noticed there's a huge, massive cave system in Wales, right? And I've heard stories about some creatures in Wales in the caves, in the old tin mines. So they've probably broken through to things. But then it also takes me back to that. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Green Children of Woolpit. You ever heard that story?
Sure have.
Yep, so you've heard of the Green Children of Woolpit. Are supposed to have walked out of a cave one time and just got lost. Do you know what I mean? And you think, hang on a minute. So then it takes me to thinking of a TV show that stars Amanda Tappin, who's in Stargate, that Night Stalker mentioned, where she's in another show called Sanctuary, which is basically about cryptids. It's basically a show about... it's not really set in the future, but you know, some stem cell stuff and cloning has changed people a bit and whatever. But there's a lot of cryptids involved in this, and that show builds up towards being a Hollow Earth story, and that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Do you know what I mean? And I think, man, I wonder. Do you know what I'm saying?
I wonder
what's underneath. What lies beneath, Mike?
What lies beneath? Yeah, I don't know. And so, like I said, it's bizarre to me, like how all of this. Like I said, when I pulled this story up today, I was like, I was saving this one because it happened a couple days ago, and I was like, God, this is so good. I don't want to I was excited to do it on Monday, but then I was like, I can't. You know how when you like come across something, you kind of have to let it settle, right? Like if you jump on it, you're going to miss stuff.
Yeah.
And so I let it settle, and I was thinking about this, and I'm like, what am I missing about this story? There's something I'm missing. And I went back and I double checked, and I read that Chronicle of Zukni and the entire thing. There's 2 different parts to it of this particular like Assyrian monster invasion. And the part that I missed was the Vatican. That it's actually the current original copy of this is housed in the Vatican Archive, and I went, "Oh shit, that's what I'm missing." So there you go. Yeah,
it's that's interesting. Funny you should say that because that was the thing on the time travel. I was going to call in on that, and I was going to say that I'd probably want to save that stuff, what was in the Library of Alexandria. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have liked to have gone back in time, buried that somewhere with a bunch of antiques, and then, dug them up when I come back. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look what I've got.
Yeah. Oh, what do you know? In this obvious mine shaft, I found the Library of Alexandria. I like the way you think. I like the way you think.
But there's stuff in there, and I think that's exactly what the Dark Ages is. But they've got that, so obviously nobody's gonna not write anything down for 1,000 years across the whole world. Obviously, that's not true. They just don't want to tell us. So obviously, then to me, at least to my mind, it says something really funky happened. Something for 1,000 years, something monumentally epic was going on. So big, they don't want us to know, or so useful, they don't want us to know. And then while we're throwing crazy ideas out there, I don't know if you've ever heard of that mud fossil stuff. I don't really necessarily believe in it, but they're talking like, some of these like mountains and stuff are like remnants of giant creatures, and they're getting DNA from stones. And it's like, hang on a minute, what's going on? Because Jesus said the whole earth is a corpse, and you think, well, maybe some of these titans were a lot bigger than we thought. I mean, they're fossilized. It makes you wonder of all sorts of crazy stuff, doesn't it? But it's like I say, all bets seem to be off these days.
It sure seems like it, doesn't it? Look, I'm going to spread the influence. I know a lot of people out there listening. If anybody out there knows how to summon Cthulhu, can you let me know before you do? Because I want a front row seat. I want to see when that shit goes down. I mean, well,
and Derek's got to do it.
Well, I mean, let's say if it's an old one, try and make it a benevolent old one. How about that? But I don't know, man. Like it's weird how like just the synchronicity of the story, right? We literally have a modern archaeological find that maybe dates back to that Assyrian monster invasion and the Vatican Chronicles, man. What the hell is going on in this world? Like I don't think you could like script something so perfectly, right? But well, here we are. It's true, as they say, truth is stranger than fiction, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm just the so-called normal world. That's turned out to be the big fairy tale, and things weren't anywhere near that drab. I think that's the big conspiracy.
All the things. Yeah, we talked about all the things today, all the things tonight. Very good stuff. So back to the Vatican Archive. If like I asked the same question to Derek, if you had your personal choice here of like what are they actually hiding, what would you like to know that actually exists in the Vatican Archive?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I hadn't never even thought about that. It's just the generalness of it. I think I was looking at just getting that general knowledge. But I think I don't know. I think it's got to be it will be stuff to do with like the metaphysics. I think there's probably some serious like fast track metaphysical stuff where we could all like do a certain type of meditation for a year and all be able to fly. Some really funky stuff like the Tai Chi masters. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but during the Second World War, what was China doing? You don't know about China, do you? What was China doing during the Second World War? They were bombing the shit out of all the temples with Tai Chi masters in, because they could leave their body and have full physical force, and they could teach other people how to do it. So you can't imprison those people, because they could just meditate, get out of the body, kick the shit out of the guards, unlock the cell, get back in, walk out. So I think there's a lot of, you know what I'm saying? So if everyone could do that, and ain't nobody paying taxes.
No, hell no. The triple hell no. Triple hell no. Yeah, it's so interesting. So the attack is on the esoterics, it's on ancient knowledge. And again, the attack is on religion. And I think if you pay close attention, that's what's happening. Truth is stranger than fiction because they're coming after that in the sense that some of that, right? Again, like personally, I don't believe in religion as a sort of that leading us to salvation type of thing, right? Because it's too easy to manipulate the flesh that way. Because you're like, you don't do what I say, you're going to hell, right? That bit, right? And many of them are like that. But I'm not saying that it doesn't have its knowledge and its wisdom, and that there are some things in these religions that are exactly like you described, sort of way out there, sort of worthwhile, right? Like the again, spirituality and religion to me are two very different things, and I think the attack is on spiritualism, is it not? That makes sense.
And I think one of the things that the likes of the Catholic, right, Abrahamic religions are defending something, but they're defending this, at least one thing that I think of is that they're defending a huge secret of the Abrahamic religions have an obvious like mind parasite embedded in them, like an obvious impossible image that drives us crazy. And what it is, it's the idea of a chosen people. That's master race theory. And that one thing, the Gnostics said that one thing is going to keep us all separate forever until you get rid of it, until you look at it and identify it. You know, it's only one small detail, but that one thing's massive. The idea that you can have a master race, that sets up racism, it sets up all kinds of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We got Matt here. You're welcome to stay till the end, Rohan. Let's bring Matt.
Yeah, I'll just hang out.
All right, cool. Matt, whenever you're ready, my friend. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with the mighty Rohan, and we're talking about all the stuff tonight. We started with a cave full of bones. We went to the Vatican Archive. We talked about the Assyrian monster invasion of 774 AD. What were these things? They clearly, in my opinion, weren't striped hyenas. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. And the reason I say that is because hyenas are clearly native to the area. So you think the people never saw hyenas before? Of course they have. Of course, as Chunk Yogurt would say. You guys ever watch The Young Turks, that asshole? But I digress. But anyway, the point being is that weird how you start with a cave full of bones, you go to an Assyrian monster invasion, and then you end up with the Vatican Archives. Here we are tonight. Matt from California, whenever you're ready, my friend, just unmute, and you're on the show with Troubled Minds. I'm Mike. This is Rohan. This is Matt in California. All the great chat, guys. Appreciate it. I think there he goes. He's unmuting. Welcome back, Matt. What's up, my friend? How are you tonight?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me, Ned?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The beginning of the show, the cave and the werewolves is great stories, but, I like the Vatican Library and the Akashic Records kind of type stuff. And it got me thinking, we talking about the Alexandrian Library and the Vatican Library and the Akashic Records. Oh, and even a place called Warehouse 13, if you guys know anything about that. Warehouse 13 is, at the end of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
Where they're putting away the Ark in a box, right? What if they're all the same place? Like, in a way, like they're a place where all the knowledge is.
Well, so that would be basically like the government's modern day version of the Library of Alexandria, right? It would be like
what if
like the secular equivalent of the Vatican Library?
Yeah, like what if Warehouse 13 is like is part of that underground in the Vatican?
Right. Oh.
They have everything. They have everything: the books, the knowledge, the scrolls, and the artifacts.
Maybe they're connected. Oh, snap! All right.
Yeah. And one of the things that I believe, just like my belief that you asked, what I think is in the Vatican Library.
Sure.
If you know about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, so like these Emerald Tablets, they can't be destroyed. It's through magic. And so if they were at the Alexandrian Library and they burned it down, I'm speculating, of course, this is all speculation.
Sure.
What if they're under the burial ruins of the old library, or if they can't be destroyed, what if they either they don't know what they were and they took them, or they do know what they were and they took them on purpose?
Yeah.
Back to the Vatican Library.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of threads here. Aren't there? There's a lot of threads here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because supposedly that we don't have all the books of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth there's a museum in Cairo that has them, but they don't have all of them. They have I think there's 12, and they have 1, 2, 4, and 7. They don't have all of them, supposedly.
No, well, you would hope not, right? If you have all the things, well, okay. Now, crazy enough, right? You bring it up like that. Now, if they had all the things and all this Illuminati and all this stuff, right? All the things they say and the rituals that are happening and right, that whole bit, suddenly, if that stuff, that level of esoteric magic exists in this world, man, that shit is all freaking real, isn't it? It ends up becoming how they say, well, the Illuminati can't do what they're going to do unless they tell us they're going to do it, right? That type of thing, right? That stuff seems real then, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm off the rails here again. But
it's like I said, I'm just speculating. I'm just throwing out theories and things. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, neither do we.
But yeah,
that's part of the.
It's a great, it's a great, just all the knowledge in one place.
Yeah.
But all the knowledge is in one place, but then it's restricted. You have to be in the club. You have to know somebody to get in.
Exactly. It's the ultimate paywall.
That's scary.
You have to sell your soul to the devil to get in, or something like that, right? Like your firstborn children, or things like this, right? I think that's the sickness of this, is that those things become possible, right? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the quote for tonight, if I can.
Yeah, of course. Fantastic. Okay. Wait, before you do it,
I'm gonna go after that.
Before you do it, Rohan, anything else? We're about to wind this up. See, Matt's got his timing perfect. He saw it tick to 10 o'clock, and that's exactly 3 hours. He's right on the ball. So hang tight, Matt. We're going to do the outro in just a sec. Let's get Rohan in to finish this up, and then let's wrap it up. Any thoughts on what Matt said, or anything else while we got time tonight?
Yeah, well, about you, what you said about magic. Maybe some of this magic's kind of real. I think it is. It's just a science. I think it's just a science of different layers of stuff. Like Robert Monroe in his book I'm reading at the minute, he was talking about how there's locale 1 here, locale 2 made out 4, and locale 3 is like an alternate world, like this one, like an antimatter world. But it says there's a layer in between this layer and getting out of body, and he says if there's a heaven or hell, it might be this thin layer. Whereas if you move through it, it's like things are nibbling at your feet. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was sort of saying there is a layer that's really close to us. So I don't know. That's what he says.
The veil is thin, is it not? Especially if you have a portal. Especially if you have a portal.
I think it's portal time. At this stage of the galaxy in the Zodiacs, I think that's what it is. I think it's super thin at this end. That's what I reckon.
Sort of kind of grinding it down over the years, right? It's ready. It's ready to break open and bring those demon dogs back. It's gonna be like Ghostbusters and the slime all over New York.
Yeah, and then the angels come with spears and swords. It'd be a right epic fight. It'd be like end day, like Marvel films.
Exactly. Cats and dogs sleeping together. Remember that line from Ghostbusters, Bill Murray? Yeah. Anyway, all right. We digress way too much. Had a lot of fun tonight. Thanks, guys. Like I said, see, when I'm into it, boy, I'll just keep talking. But holy shit, sometimes if you guys don't bail me out with a phone call, I'm just gets in such a shitty mood. So there it is. Because you know why? Because you can't win them all. Everyone is not a home run. And so if I get 2/3 into it and I'm just like, shit, this show sucked. If you guys don't bail me out, I'm ready to rage quit. And that's my fault, not yours. But thank you all for bailing me out when I suck. And thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's been a fun ride. Go ahead, Matt. Let's play some outro music and let's let this rip. There we go, buddy. You're up.
Okay, it's short. There is only one good, knowledge, and only one evil, ignorance. And that's by Socrates.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
Sweet. Nice.
I love it. And what that means is never stop learning. Never stop learning. You can never have too much knowledge. Never stop learning. Till the day you pass, continue learning. Great stuff, Matt. Great stuff,
Mike.
Rohan. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Good night.
Pleasure's ours, my friend. All right. Let's kill it. Let's finish this up. The dealio is this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. We're here with Matt from California. We're here from Rohan from the UK, the mighty Rohan. And we're talking about all the things. Like I said, sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you don't. Well, thanks for sticking with me, even though every once in a while you strike out. But tonight, I think we at least hit a double off the wall. So, as we finish up, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific, and doing our thing. So if you love the show, if you love the conversations, if you love all of these things, spread the word, guys. Help me out, please. Help us out. Help this community out. And the reason I say us is because it is us. Think about all the amazing people we get to call in, all the amazing chat, all the people getting together and sharing ideas. You see, it's never too late to stop learning. Continue learning. We're going to keep doing it, talking about crazy stuff. All right, there we go. Let's get the hell out of here. There we go. Phil says it. This is a home run. Amen, brother. I feel the same way. All right, we're done. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Thank you guys for listening. As we finish, we'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. You guys want to jump in the call or the shoot the breeze? Let's hang out for a minute. If anybody has Discord and wants to hang out for a bit, I'm going to be working for like another hour, so I'll be there for sure. And usually we get James and sometimes Matt and Rohan, so come say hi. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, hop right in the Shoot the Breeze channel, and come say hi. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Have a fantastic night.